Welcome to the Legendary Upside podcast and YouTube channel. My name is Pat Kerrane. You can follow all my content at legendaryupside.com. With me today, Jakob Sanderson from Thinking About Thinking and Ship Chasing. Jakob, how's it going?
Doing great, man. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We're going to be talking through some DraftKings values as it is DraftKings Best Ball Week, and we'll draft a team over there as well. And yeah, just wanted to, we haven't really talked about DraftKings, so I thought it'd be fun to have you on, get some of your thoughts on the values over there. I know you've got DraftKings rankings as well as Underdog Best Ball rankings. We're thinking about thinking. And the landscape's a little different. And one of the cool things about DraftKings is that it changes a little faster. Like the algorithm for the ADP actually updates quicker. So we see some rises and falls there a little bit more quickly, which is fun.
Yeah, it's a fun environment. It's more chaotic, like day to day, week to week. It's also just more chaotic draft to draft.
Yeah.
Like you just see all sorts of stuff. So you got to stay on your toes. And I would say generally, I feel like I get better prices on like some of my targets on DraftKings as well. And so usually whenever I do get the chance to draft over there, I usually end up liking my teams quite a bit. I also just like my brain has been plugged into PPR, I feel like, for pretty much all of my fantasy life. Yeah. So it's like
I still think in PPR as much as I'm
to go back to PPR. Like I'm like in the middle of writing this ambiguous wide receiver room series, and I'm like trying to get kind of like drilled into the micro on some of these projections, and I've been like phrasing some of them in half PPR, and it's like, man, that's not a lot of points for that wide receiver. So it's like nice to get back on DraftKings when like the wide receiver 18 is scoring 10.8 points per game.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I mean I still very much think in PPR as well. So are there players that you're specifically drafting more of on DraftKings so far that really jump out? I mean, I think one of the guys is Mekhi Lemon for me, who just is so much cheaper.
That's the biggest one. That's the biggest one by a mile is Mekhi Lemon for sure. Like he's way cheaper. I feel like just a lot of that group of receivers basically, like it's kind of the guys. It's funny because it feels like all the guys that I like was basing my entire very early BBM and pre-draft strategy around on Underdog, like the receivers from like that round 8 through 11 range back then. Now I still kind of am drafting them, but I unfortunately have to draft them way earlier. But on DraftKings, I feel like I could still get them at like prices I want to get them at. So it's probably like, if anything, I'm even emphasizing trying to get like some of my structural stuff out of the way when I can.
Like who do you mean of that group? Is that like Jaden Reed
like,
type or?
Yeah, like Reed goes a little later. Guys like Pearsall, Downs, whatever, like all that whole group, I feel like you can get some nicer prices on. Lemon is the biggest one where like I'm willing to chase him up to that 6-7 turn, but you can get him way later on DraftKings, which is much more pleasant. So
yeah, I'm at 42% Mekhi Lemon on DraftKings right now, which is it's a smaller sample because I've mostly been doing the flagship there and then some 555, so I just don't have like hundreds of drafts done there.
That makes sense.
I might need to get some slows going because I want to get more volume down than I have, but right now I've just been doing fast and so that makes it a little bit, but I am just also like drafting the crap out of Mekhi Lemon there. And he's so much cheaper than on Underdog where I think he's also underpriced. So Lemon, Travis Hunter I have a lot of as well.
He goes way later. Yeah, and that's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, like Jaden Reed I have significantly more of on DraftKings, but 21%, which is fun. I mean, the other guy, Carnell Tate, it goes that little bit later here, like more into the 6th more often than there's players on Underdog that like just don't fall, and maybe it's because I take a lot of Tate in the late 5th, but like I just don't.
No DraftKings is interesting because everyone on Underdog is like a total lemming. Like you just like it's like the type of fallers that I get excited for Underdog is like, I don't know, like I got like Trevion Henderson at the 601 the other day, and I was like, whoa, like that is wild. Like I just found an absolute gem, and it's like he fell 8 picks past ADP. Like that's not really that
Yeah.
crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
Whereas like on DraftKings, you will get on occasion like, oh, like this guy fell a round and a half past ADP.
Dude.
Like pretty commonly you'll get stuff like that, and like it's nice when it is one of your guys. It's like arguably even nicer when it's not one of your guys, and you're like, sweet, like I got this guy at
Yeah.
the price I feel like I should be drafting this guy, and like now I can mix him into the exposure. So yeah, like it's
So
like Tate is a great
yesterday,
example of a guy on Underdog who I feel like goes between pick 57 and 62 in 100% of
100%.
drafts. So it's like if you
100%.
want him, you take him exactly there, and if you don't, like that's it. And it's like
That's it.
he ends up being a guy I feel like I'm going to get like 8% of because I have him ranked right around ADP. He goes exactly at ADP, and like that's where I draft him.
I have so yesterday I jumped on with Ropat and Kyle, and we did a DraftKings draft, and out of the 107 we went JSN, which was a little fall, Kenneth Walker, which was like a little bit of a fall, and then we got Jeremiah Love, which was like a bigger fall. Then we got Breece Hall in the 4th. Then we got Mike Evans, and who was a pretty big fall there. And then we got Bucky Irving in the 6th. So then we just reached for Mekhi Lemon in the 7th because I was like, we don't need to chase any more falls. Like, let's just get guys we want.
We got our falls.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Bucky, because that's probably actually maybe the biggest thing on DraftKings that I love is because you get cheaper prices on okay, guys I mentioned already, Reed down is about a half round cheaper. Concepcion is almost a full round cheaper. Lemon. It makes me even more inclined to draft more running backs earlier. And the 3 guys that are also all cheaper on DraftKings are Henderson, goes right now at 57. You can get him in the 6th on occasion. Bucky actually does have now around 6 ADP, just barely.
Wow. And
then Price is a mid-6 ADP. So like Bucky's a guy I actually like at his underdog ADP. I obviously like him even more at a cheaper ADP. And then Price, who's not really a great DraftKings fit. Henderson, who in his upside case would be a good DraftKings full PPR fit. Both of those are guys I've largely been underweight on underdog, but I would love to get my overweight exposure on DraftKings where they're a little bit more affordable. And where I also think they fit the build a little bit better because I could draft wide receivers I really like a little bit longer. So probably I'm more frequently getting to that 3rd running back in the 6th round, where if I can get a Price, a Henderson, a Bucky Irving, those guys I think are all really, really fun bets.
That tier of, the Reed and Josh Downs and Xavier Worthy and Concepcion, like that kind of, it's a big tier, but like that tier is spread out a little bit more. And then you can also, I think, because of the PPR element, like dig out a little bit more easily with those types of profiles where in half point PPR, I mean, Reed and Downs, some of these like PPR merchant types, like high targets per out run, not a ton of routes, not a ton of touchdown equity. Slot receivers, might be a simpler way to put it. They don't have like as much, upside. Like we're on DraftKings because of the bonus, because of the PPR, you can get, I mean, the bonus is another thing. Like we should mention that like you can get 100-yard bonus. Like that's for a receiver for under, for small slot receivers, that could be pretty cool. That's half a touchdown. So, I think not that I want to like punt receiver to that range, but you get the potential to, bring in those types of profiles plus like a Concepcion or an Omar Cooper, or some of the later underpriced rookie upside. You've got guys like Khalil Shakir who are even cheaper than, the Jaden Reed, Josh Downs bet. There are
DraftKings.
Yeah, way better on DraftKings. And I like all the guys I'm talking about on Underdog, but the profiles actually fit DraftKings a little better.
Yeah, and like it's interesting where they seem to pick and choose like who gets priced up that I think fits the format and who does not. Like you mentioned, like Khalil Shakir is basically an identical ADP on both, despite being like pretty obviously, I think a better pick on the DraftKings site, whereas Wandale is like considerably more expensive on DraftKings. It's like that's
Right.
fair enough.
I'm
Like
at
he should be
4% Wandale. I don't have, and I have plenty of Wandale on Underdog, but I'm not really drafting Wandale on DraftKings.
right. Worthy is another one that that's a lot cheaper. The other
Yeah.
thing too is you just get the extra 2 rounds, and like especially at this point in the offseason, maybe we get to the end of August and we have more clarity on, who's the Niners RB2, who's the Colts RB2, some of these other spots where the running back picks in the 19th and 20th look a little less depressing. But like for now, like I'm pretty much already out of running backs I want to draft in the final round in 18-round underdog drafts. I'm really out of running backs I want to draft in the last couple of rounds on 20-round
It gets wiped out.
drafts. So, but I'm not like totally out of receivers. Like I'll happily take Pat Bryant in the 19th or 20th round.
Totally.
I'll take Surratt. I'll take Jalen Noel. I'll take some of these guys. So it's like even more like I would rather use those extra 2 spots on receiver, which I feel like continues to push me more into some of the running back builds. And you mentioned, of course, just those late round wide receivers kind of already have like a little bit of an easier path to mattering. Like it's easier to talk yourself into a Jeremy Bernard, a Zachariah Branch, on a full PPR site, or even some of like the boring veterans who are in bad offenses, like a Jerry Jeudy, a Calvin Ridley, I think make more sense on a full PPR site.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they do. And you can do things like, the hyperfragile build stuff works well on DraftKings right now. I think that's partly just because of like the time of year you're talking about. I was thinking about this. I just did a podcast with Eric Beinford. We're talking about kind of what we're looking to look for in the training camp period, like what we're excited to get excited about, or sort of like rules of thumb about how we're going to interpret that information. And I mean, I do think one of the things with the late running backs isn't so much that there's no one down there worth drafting now, because there are some interesting running backs, but it's just getting to, where you have enough running backs. It's like kind of critical mass where it's like you're not building your whole draft around whether or not you get this one interesting dart throw. Like if you get sniped, like if you're a big Katron Allen believer, but Katron gets sniped on that, or Jaden Blue or whatever, and it's like, Jaden Blue's kind of interesting now. He's risen, so that makes it harder to take him. But I get it. Like if you at this point now, if you're like, hey, Jaden Blue in the 16th is a thing I'm prioritizing, like, okay.
Yeah.
But are you gonna build your whole team around that? Like are you gonna skip early round running back? Are you going to break a tie against an early round running back because you can get Jaden Blue later? Like that's risky. If you can get Jaden Blue, and if you don't get Jaden Blue, that's fine, because you can get Seth McGowan's like super locked in as the RB2, and is actually catching the ball a little bit or whatever. Or Marshawn Lloyd has actually been kind of looking sick at camp and is super clearly the RB2, and there's now renewed buzz that his hamstring still attached to the bone, and there's renewed concern about Josh Jacobs getting suspended, or and I think what will hopefully happen in September is that we're going to get enough buzz on the running back position in the late round, kind of the dart throw range, that they just all can't move up.
Right.
It's the Mr. Burns, is healthy because all the diseases are trying to get in at once, and then no one moves up. No one gets in his body, and he's perfectly healthy. And so, you get like, oh yeah, we're all good. There's the late rounds. We all take running backs there. And it's like, I don't need to pull up this one guy into the 13th, because there's plenty of guys down there.
Totally. Yeah. There becomes way more options when we have more information. I feel like that's every year at this point in time of the year, and even early August, where like when there's only 1 or 2 guys at a time that you're getting positive buzz on, it is very easy for Jaden Blue to go from like never drafted ever to like, now he's a 15th round pick. It's like, because like there's just so many backfields where it's like, one of the reasons, and I will, I posted my exposures the other day, and I have like an egregious amount of Braylon Allen. And I explained to everyone that I've been like, look, I'm going to stop. Like my goal is not to finish the off season with 30% Braylon Allen. It's just that like, I'm looking at the draft board right now, and I'm like, maybe I'm just wrong about this, but I view him as both the like pretty clear-cut RB2 and a guy who will have like a role in base, not a good role, but like a role. Like he will play snaps and get touches, I think, every game. And I'm like, every other running back that I feel very confident about those two things for, like the next cheapest is to me like Dylan Sampson at like pick 174 or something. So I'm like, I feel like I'm getting like a pretty big discount on that certainty with Braylon. And so I keep defaulting to him. But I obviously don't like, want to bet my whole season on Braylon freaking Allen. But it's more like in the meantime, like I think he's mispriced. But I also understand that eventually there are probably better picks than Braylon Allen who fit that description, who aren't on the Jets, that are all going in the same range as him right now. I just don't really know who they are because some of those picks might just like literally be healthy inactives all season long. And then like my hope
one
is
of them
by the
could
time
be Taj Brooks, right?
Right.
I would never draft Taj Brooks today, but one of them could be Taj Brooks. Like that would be possible,
Totally, it could be Taj Brooks. But like also a lot of them are probably last year's Taj Brooks.
A lot of them are last year's Taj Brooks, including Taj Brooks, probably.
Right, yeah. So it's like, and I feel like this is the biggest thing I've like finally learned my lesson on this year. I've like learned my lesson progressively more every year. And I mean, it'll also never even be perfect because I remember the summer that we got very late news that like Benjamin was the number 2 for Arizona. And that news was correct early in the season. He was, in fact, the RB2 for Arizona. We had the 1 week where we started Benjamin and he had like 20 points. And then by like 2 weeks later, he was, I think, cut. So it's like he was pretty much a zero. But like at the time, we were fed the right information. And that is the thing with projecting RB2s and RB3s is like you can move from the RB2 to not the RB2 like real fast. But I'm definitely trying.
One of these was
like
Trey
last year,
Sermon.
DJ Giddens was an example of this too.
Eli Mitchell took the job year 1, and then Eli Mitchell got hurt week 1 of his second season, opening the opportunity back up for Trey Sermon. Yeah, except he'd already been cut, and then they traded for Christian McCaffrey. So like it just didn't. Or Brashard Smith last year, you get Kareem Hunt. They bring in Kareem Hunt.
Right.
So like predicting the RB2 on the Chiefs was kind of not worth doing actually. So they're yeah.
DJ Giddens last year was the RB2 in week 1. And like if you made that bet, you were right. It's just unfortunately he like missed 3 pass blocks, and then for the rest of the season, Amir Abdullah was the RB1. It's like how could you have foreseen that? Like it's like he actually was the RB2. It's just then he wasn't anymore. So even when you get the news, you can't just take that to the bank. But at least I'm looking at him like, well, I know I'm going to take 0% of Braylon Allen for the last 3 weeks that I draft because there's going to be RB2s that are other offenses that fit the same criteria that aren't in the Jets. And I'm like, I'll just take all of them. But I'm like, for now, I may as well just fill up on Braylon because at least I kind of feel like I have certainty there.
I totally get that. And I draft some Braylon Allen too. I'm not like hammering Braylon Allen, but I do have, a little bit. I'm actually not sure. Let me pull it up. But he's one of those guys who are like, I could use my general thing right now is like I'm probably the opposite of you actually, where I'm at 5% Braylon Allen, and most of my teams I'm just not building where they need a Braylon Allen. Like that's kind of how I'm operating. Like when I get to where I might need Braylon Allen, I'm like, I'm good at running back. I don't need Braylon Allen. But later, I might need a Braylon Allen because he sort of joins hands with other backs that I'm now actually targeting. And it's not just like, okay, so Jordan James could be another RB2 that we get, who looks like he probably is the RB2. I think if you were like, I'm drafting a lot of Jordan James in the 18th right now, I would be like, oh, okay, I get it. I want like a little bit more confirmation that he's actually the RB2 because it's such just a handcuff. Like he has no standalone value.
I don't.
So I'd really like
confident.
to feel very confident.
My rule of thumb is like if it's July 17th and they were saying Kalen Black is the RB2, I would take that to the bank because I'm like it's unusual for the rookie to have already iced the veteran. Point. But if they're saying that, like it's the same with like the Chiefs stuff where it's like I've read like good things on. I haven't really read any good things on Kalen Black, but for the Chiefs, for instance, like I'm reading good things on Emmett Johnson individually, and then I'm hearing them say, well, Amari DiMercato is still the RB2. And for me, that is like, well, I'm certainly not drafting Amari DiMercato
Yeah.
based on that, because like just because the veteran is the RB2 in the middle of July does not mean he's the RB2 by week 1 or especially week 6. And like Emmett's at least getting like positive reviews in a vacuum. But I'm also not like super pumped to draft a big bag of Emmett Johnson until we start getting reports that he's actually going to be above Amari DiMercato. So I'm kind of like mostly trying to stay away. I'm sprinkling in a little bit of Johnson. If we got to a point where it was the opposite, and it's like, no, the rookie is the RB2, like then I would just hammer Emmett Johnson.
You'd hammer
like
Emmett Johnson.
Going in one direction. So for me with the 49ers, it's like, okay, in July they're saying Jordan James is the RB2. It's like that's worth not nothing to me, but it's worth less to me than if it was the opposite, because I would kind of already expect the veteran.
I like that
the
framing
RB2 at this point.
Yeah.
And then if we get later on in the season and the beat reports are like it's still James, especially if the beat reports on Black himself are like negative or totally nondescript, like they were with like TDP years ago, where basically every 49ers beat reporter, you'd be like, what's up with TDP? And they're like, yeah, he has a jersey. Like I see him on the field sometimes.
Yeah, this happened with Kamani Vidal as well. Where like, can you report on him? Like, why? Like,
yeah. Right. Exactly.
So,
because like you see some stuff where it's like there was a Steelers report came out the other day that was like, right now Roman Wilson is the wide receiver 3, and I'm like, cool.
Don't
I'm
not even saying he's not. I'm not even saying he's not, but like, for how long? Because it's
right.
Because he's Roman Wilson, guys. Like, it's not. If anything, I should be drafting more Michael Pittman if that's the case.
Yeah, and it's the same thing where like Dontavian Wicks, is the wide receiver 2 right now. It's like these are kind of this thing where it's like if you were to tell me that by week 1, or especially by week 4, Jeremy Bernard is the wide receiver 3 in Pittsburgh, what would you expect the beat reports to be on July 17th? I would say probably that Roman Wilson's the wide receiver 3. And then if you were like, well, if Roman Wilson actually is the wide receiver 3, what do you expect? Like, well, I'd expect it to be the exact same. So it's like not bad for Roman Wilson, but like it's not that bad for Jeremy.
This is I said the same thing about like in seasons where Jacoby Lane breaks out, Rashad Bateman probably plays ahead of him in week 1. In seasons where he's a total zero, Rashad Bateman also plays ahead of him.
Jacoby Lane breaks out. Does he also like learn how to ever separate from coverage?
Maybe not. He might just be a back shoulder touchdown guy. Give me 7 touchdowns.
Would you consider 2025 Isaac Tesla as a breakout for Jacoby Lane?
I'd probably take it. I'm getting him in the 20th round. It wouldn't be ideal, but if you just tell me like, hey, all the Jacoby Lane you drafted, that's 2025 Isaac Tesla, I'd be like, all right, I have him in the 20th round. It's a 5.55.
2025 Isaac Tesla. That seems pretty plausible.
I could deal with that.
Have you mixed in Surratt too, or are you just taking Lane?
I have. I like Surratt more.
Okay,
I like Surratt more.
That's who
Surratt's more expensive.
I have not taken any Lane.
With Lane, I've done this like enough times where I'm just not going to do it anymore. Like they're the same bet. They're just the exact same bet.
Well,
I know profile wise you can say they're not, but they're the same. Yes, they're. You become the wide receiver 2 in Baltimore over the course of the year.
Okay. At that macro level, they're the same bet. I guess where I still see it as a different bet is that I think that Lane has to actually pass Bateman to play on the outside, whereas I think Surratt.
I'm actually not 100% sure that's true. Like, I think Lane could also play in the slot. They've talked Surratt up as someone who could play in the slot. But you don't think Lane could be a similar kind of power slot?
I mean, based on the prospect profile, I think it's far less likely. I just think Surratt like actually has more of the skill set to do that, like in terms of feeling space in the zones.
Yeah, he probably does.
Actually having a production profile, whereas Lane to me is like he has all the same negatives that Surratt has in his profile in terms of like not beating man coverage, like not separating well downfield, but like I don't think he has any of the pause. I just think he's mostly just terrible.
He's an early declare who was, reasonably productive, sort of.
Yeah.
It could be the case that we're betting on Isaiah Hodgins when there's a Gabe Davis here. And
that's plausible.
Gabe
Gabe Davis has a better production profile, but yeah,
he did.
That's
I liked
totally
Gabe Davis more, but he also went 2 rounds later, and they took Lane in the 3rd round. Like that's meaningful. So I'm gonna have more Surratt. Like I think, but when I checked in on it, I think I was at like 11% Surratt, 1% Lane. I was like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
I cannot possibly be this confident in Surratt over Lane. So now I'm at like more like 8 and 4. I'm like, I could be twice as confident. That seems like a reasonable take, but I'm 11 times more confident. I don't know.
That's fair. I think it's mostly I've just like if I don't take Surratt, I think I'm just taking like other guys. So it's not really as much that I'm like 11 times more confident in Surratt than Lane. It's more like I'm more confident in Surratt than like I don't know. Who's another really late round player? I'm more confident in I like Elijah Surratt more than Chris Brazzell, but I like Chris Brazzell.
I was going to say Brazzell,
Jacoby Lane. Is that like a
no? That's fine, but I think if you're right about like I hate when I go I was right about the macro bet and then I was too confident in the specific player who would benefit. Like Ravens non-Flowers wide receiver in a year where Mark Andrews fell off a lot last year. And as an older player, and then likely leaves. There's opportunity here. Like there's clearly opportunity. So I identify that. Obviously, new offensive coordinator, things could kind of change in the way they're using the receivers, and the offensive coordinator is exciting, could be really fun. You have Lamar Jackson, like all of this. I understood everything about this. I got it right, and then I said, and it's only Elijah Surratt who can benefit. And then it's someone else. It's just like, God damn it. Like those,
it might be
those misses in my past. Well, it could be Stephon Diggs
or Deebo Samuel.
Or Deebo Samuel. That would actually be pretty great for me.
That'd be great.
I would be pretty into that. Yeah.
But Deebo Samuel, I like see you later, Elijah Surratt shares. That's fine. I have a lot more Deebo.
I know. That's a tax I'll pay to make the Deebo shares.
They expect my Surratt shares in the wreckage if that's the case. That's fine.
Bateman too. I have taken a little Bateman. I haven't taken Tez Walker really yet, and I'm probably not going to just yet. But I could do that eventually.
Yeah, that's the one I can't really get to. Like I would need a lot of like very specific reports that are like not just Walker over the rookies, but like Walker over Bateman, I think, to get to Walker. Yeah. Because like that's what he's a 3rd-year player who's virtually never played. Like I'm either betting if I'm making the bet, like I'm either gonna bet on the incumbent, like who was terrible last year but has been decently okay before in Bateman, or I'm just gonna bet on the rookies. I don't think I'm getting all the way to Devontae Walker without like a lot of drumbeat around him.
Yeah, I'm probably but it would be with a drumbeat, and there has been like a little bit of a drumbeat that he's the guy currently ahead. I don't think I'm gonna like that's not enough for me, but it could become enough later. Or
it's been a drumbeat.
It could reach a point where I feel like enough has happened is what I'm trying to say.
It's been a drumbeat of him ahead of the rookies, which is like what I expect in the middle of July. Like
he's Roman Wilsoning.
I think the only thing that could get me onto Devontae Walker is if someone says like no, actually he's ahead of Bateman. I think I'm picking max 1 on Baltimore veteran receiver, and then I'll just go to the rookies. If he's
ahead of Bateman, would move the needle for me. Yeah,
that would be a lot.
Yeah,
because I have taken some Bateman and I've taken some Surratt. I think I might have taken Lane like once, but yeah, I'm definitely in on Surratt and a little bit in on Bateman. Tez Walker, it's too far for me.
It's too far, yeah. But I don't like the takes that you look back on kind of what you were in on, what you weren't in on, and the ones that do bug me a lot are like I got 95% of the way there, and then I was like too confident about like the specific way that it would break. Like you just there's only so much you can predict, and if you find one of these spots where it's like I didn't really have much Puka when he broke out, and I have some like Tutu Atwell, like that couldn't have been some Puka. You couldn't have found your way to Puka when you're drafting Tutu Atwell. Like probably could have, It's like, come on, man. Like I just it just pisses me off with my own. I piss myself off when I see that I've done that, and I'm trying really hard not to
Mm-hmm.
do that. It doesn't mean I can't have takes, but it should be like a little bit better calibrated.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other examples in that realm of like uncertain opportunity spots where I'm like either balancing or hitting the same thing over and over again.
Yeah,
I'm not
like,
sure
do you have like
which hits
42% of
me.
anyone, or
Not anymore. In fact, the numbers, like, I'm actually, I'm like forcing myself to click him more because I'm actually just getting so annoyed online. This is like, I need to like go for a walk or something. But I posted my like updated exposures, and our guy CBK was like, "Oh, like you finally capitulated to Rashad White being a
oh my
bad pick,"
god.
because like he's like seeing me down at like 26%, and I'm like, "No, the market agreed with me. He's around more expensive now, so I'm taking less."
Also, like you didn't have a ton of drafts, so like you were gonna have a higher exposure. Like,
Yeah, like
like
my
to
goal is
someone, it doesn't necessarily
like
have to be White, but
my goal is never to finish at 42% of anyone, ever really. Like that's certainly
yeah.
not intentional. What I usually do is like in early drafts, I never make it a point to level exposures because from my
Yeah,
point of view, I'm
it'll
like,
happen
I
naturally.
feel like I'm identifying spots that I think that are inefficient ADPs, and if I'm right and the market eventually agrees with me, then I would love to have drafted like as much as humanly possible about this guy. He
Yeah.
moves up around, and then I just stop drafting them, and I get to finish at like 20% of a guy I liked at all the best cost. And if eventually the market like says no, like we're good here, then I'll taper myself off over the course of the year. But I'm not gonna really do that early on when I know I can change it. So like with Rashad White, that was a spot where I mean, I thought that the market was off. Whether that'll prove to be correct, who knows? But like the market itself has certainly adjusted, so I'm now taking significantly less, and I'd be perfectly happy if I finished the year with like 15% Rashad White, but all of it is at an average ADP of like 121, and he closes with an ADP of 107. Like it's fine by me.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to think about it. Like you don't have to be even, like, and why would you really want to be like completely at your end exposures all year? Like you would be all off season, I mean. Like
Right.
then you're going to give up good prices on the players you like the most. Like wouldn't you kind of want to jam a guy while he's cheap, and then as the price rises you can kind of ease off, and then also maybe the price doesn't rise but you're kind of reevaluating, like, it doesn't look like I'm on an island here. This price does not seem to be changing. We're getting into August. I'm seeing this differently than everyone else. Do I want to double down on that and have my season come down to this player, or like is there something I'm missing? And you kind of you're
Right.
reading other people's stuff, you're talking to other people. We're in the position where we can actually like podcast and kind of like tease out like, why do you feel this way, like kind of debate it and stuff. But of course you can do that. You can hop online, you bait on Twitter, whatever else, Discord, and try to get like kind of like steel man your takes a little bit and see like, yeah, there is probably a little element of this that I was missing. You referenced Ben Gretch's post on Keaton Mitchell yesterday as having changed your mind, and
Did.
it didn't change my mind as much, but it definitely made me question part of what I was thinking about Mitchell. And ultimately we moved him up a bit, not a ton, but we moved him up a bit in the thinking of, this is a player, despite being undersized, who was a college workhorse. And
That's the thing that got me.
yeah,
That's the thing that sold me was the college workhorse and the college receiving, because I think I just like I didn't do a lot of prospect work on him because he was a UDFA.
he was a UDFA. Yeah.
And so it's not like he was someone that I did a deep dive into at the time, and I feel like I just like kind of neglected to go back and like try to reevaluate what I would think of this player if he was coming out as a prospect now. And I think that I like just kind of settled into too rigid of assumptions as to what he is or could be based on what he's been in the NFL, which is a very low volume player who's never used in the receiving game at all. But if Mike McDaniel sees him differently, and is like, no, like this is actually a player that could be like a true RB2, not just a gadget guy, and he could be a guy that I use in the receiving game more. And there's like something to that back in college, like that would change my perspective on him a bit. Because I think my main issue with him has not been the game to game like base roll. I think his base roll is like fine. Like I don't have 0% of him. I've taken him a little bit because
I still am skeptical of the base roll. I think I'm more skeptical than
I've been sold on the base
there.
roll kind of like the whole time. My issue has been the contingent roll, because
I don't think there's no base roll, to be clear, but I don't think he's like, a true kind of rotate. Like I think Woody Marks will have like a better base roll.
See, I don't.
As that
like
is.
that's
okay.
I don't. Like I've been, because like him and Tyrone Tracy are like back to back in my rankings, and like Marks is in there, like that kind of whole group.
I think Tracy probably is Singletary complicates that a little bit, but
so like, because like, and I've been like where I've taken some.
I'm not a Tracy guy this year.
I mean, I only have like 4% Keaton, because this doesn't describe very many of my teams.
I'm at 2. I'm not at 0, but yeah.
Like where I've taken Mitchell so far has been, and again, this is very few of my teams, which is why he's on very few of my teams. But it's been like somehow we've arrived at the 12th round, and I only have like 2 running backs or 3 running backs, and so I need not really just a pure contingent bet, but I need like someone to actually like fill in with a base roll, and I've been pretty optimistic that Keaton will have that. And so I've almost, like, this is kind of funny because they couldn't be more opposite players, but I've almost treated him the same way I treat Chris Rodriguez, where I'm like, I don't really like this player, but like he has like a role, so I'm gonna mix him in here as like this RB3 where I can really take advantage of the base roll. My issue with Keaton has been that I don't think the contingent upside is very high. And then Gretsch got me to rethink that a little bit, because if his base roll is half decent and the contingent upside is like, probably still not as high as how I would put like, a Tank Bigsby or even like a Brian Robinson. But if it's at least like something, then it's like, well, maybe he's just Kenny Gainwell.
That's what he got me on as well. Ultimately, like I think it's similar to Tyjae Spears. And he's a lot more expensive to Tyjae Spears.
I've been mashing Spears. I think he's like
I take a lot of Spears
player.
Yeah. So that's a little, I still think he's overpriced. I actually don't take a lot of Spears. I'm at 8%. So, it's whatever. But again, it's kind of like a structural thing. Like I don't often find myself needing Spears, but when I need a Spears, I'm like, Spears, So
yeah. I take Spears a lot. I mean, I don't know if you're reading this differently, but like I have those guys way closer together than I think that the market does. Now, granted, I've like also had them way closer together than the market does in previous years and been clearly wrong. But then I feel like part of that is because Spears just keeps getting hurt, and so then I'm always like, well, like if he was healthy, I think this would be closer together. And then like he never is healthy, so maybe he never will be healthy. But
yeah, he also literally has one ACL, so I'm just worried about how
that is a fair problem.
The contingent value on him is not like awesome, but I was worried that like
it might be awesome. Like Nick Singleton,
I don't think it's awesome.
Nick Singleton is such a weird prospect in that I could, like, I give him some equity of like just being the RB1 at the end of the year, but I think like I give him a lot of equity of never being activated the entire year. He's just so boom bust in a way that I think, to me, like works against Pollard, because the price on him really necessitates that he better have the roll lockdown all year, but kind of works in favor of Spears because the price is lower on him to the point that like if Singleton becomes the guy, it's like, it's not that, like, I don't know, you're burning a round 13 pick. It's like not the total death sentence for your roster. But where like I could see like Pollard goes down and I don't know, it's like Singleton just never plays because he's like so non-viable. I think he could be kind of,
I could see that
anything,
too.
So
could you see like Julius Chestnut playing ahead of I don't even know.
Michael Carter's on the roster. That's
Michael Carter
would be the guy.
Julius Chestnut is just, I'm gonna say that in 2029. Like I just think that's a funny funny name to
That's
say.
very fair. I'll also point like some coach speak quotes. Like, there was a beat report. There was like one random beat report that was like Pollard looks to be the RB1, and that kind of circulated the rounds. That wasn't really based on, I think, anything other than the fact that like he has been the RB1, and so the beat reporter is assuming he's the clear RB1, which is probably right because he always has been. But like every time that the actual team has discussed them, they've discussed them very much like the two of them in conjunction.
But they always do that. It's so weird. And, this is the second regime. I know, but I'm so over it. I'm so over it, man.
Like, I guess it's, I don't know. Ask Coach Speak about this the next time you pod with him. Because I was on his stream a while ago, and he got me really excited about Spears because he had mentioned that now I forget if it was Saleh or Dable. I think it was Saleh, but one of the two of them, like right when they took over, he was like talking about the running back room, and he said very complimentary things about both Pollard and Spears, but he actually talked about Spears first. And then there's like been another point in time where they like, was it Saleh that referred to them as like their two bell cows, plural, which I don't even know how you can have two bell cows. It's like
absurd,
oxymoronic. But
that was him walking back Singleton stuff. That was him going,
right.
I like Singleton. He's looked good. We feel good about him. And then he like caught himself basically being like, I know you guys are going to aggregate me. So now I'm going to back up and be like, but our bell cows are Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears. So don't even quote me that Singleton's going to be our starter or some bullshit like that. But then he got aggregated on bell cows because that's a
fair. But it's still notable that he did his de-aggregation that way. Like he didn't. It would have been very different if what he said was, "But Tony Pollard is our bell cow," and we also really. Right, like there's another version of that quote where he says all the complimentary things about Singleton, and then he goes, "But Tony Pollard is our bell cow, and we like Spears too," and like that would be a lot worse than Pollard and Spears are our bell cows.
Agreed.
So like I don't know, the fact that he's continued to say, and also Pollard is like pretty old, and like he could kind of, he's at the age where like it wouldn't be shocking if he showed up and was washed at any moment. So I like Spears. I've that's probably similar to what I was saying about the Braylon thing. It's like been the biggest shift in how I've drafted mid to late running backs this year. Is like I feel like in previous years I've drafted more like it was a redraft team where I've taken a lot of like pure handcuffs.
Yeah.
And I've tried to focus a lot more this year on. No, actually, I do think I care about the difference between a 6.5 point per game base roll and a 3.2 point per game base roll.
100%.
And so it's like led 100%. Me to being more in on like a Spears over a Tank Bigsby, for instance. Yeah. Or in Absolutely. On a Dylan Sampson, more so than like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other guy who goes in that range, but like, but like more into those
Brian
types
Robinson.
Of guys. Even like even a Braylon Allen has been a guy where like is a great example of this where I'm like at this point in the season at least like I'm gonna draft more Braylon and less Damon Claiborne. And
this is very
to get that role. So
the Sims agree with you on this stuff, man. Like when it's like they just the standalone value on this because you're only hitting that contingent not like that high of a percent of the time. And so you're getting the potential for a guy to kind of fit into your lineup and contribute throughout the season in best ball where you don't have to guess when it is. They just hit the lineup. Like that's right. It's more, that difference is more valuable than I think we think of it as because it's not that fun to think of. Like, and Woody Marks has like probably a decent enough standalone role. I mean, it depends.
That I'm not so sure about. That's a micro take that I have.
The distinction between Marks and Spears is probably just like a debate, and I could also see myself coming off of that. And being
that's a micro debate.
That's a micro
at a macro
thing.
Level. Yeah. I agree with you on that. I think the difference is if I'm projecting that backfield out, I'm projecting it as like 2 drives Pollard, 1 drive Spears, plus all of the 2-minute and third downs. Whereas I look at the Texans backfield and I'm like, I'm not sure Woody Marks plays a 1st and 10 all season.
That's pretty bullish for Montgomery if that happens.
If you put the over under at 0.5 1st and 10s when the game is between 14 points and score and David Montgomery is healthy, I'm pretty sure he hits the over 0.5, but I'm not certain.
I think he hits the over 0.5, and I think the Woody Marks thing's so funny because like he's just not, I do not like Marks as a prospect, but they gave him so much work as a rookie. I know it was with Chubb there, and they just didn't have any kind of contingencies in place for the mix and stuff. But
They did. They just refused to acknowledge our GOAT, Jawar Jordan.
right, but them refusing to acknowledge Jawar Jordan is bullish for Marks, and I think it's a very, very kind of clean two-man backfield. And Montgomery's an older back. I just don't think they're going to give him everything. Like that would almost be silly.
Lot.
They're going to give him a lot. Well, I'm drafting Montgomery.
Wait,
plenty,
the Texans are going to do something silly? Wow, that's crazy. They've never done anything silly.
It's a silliness that might result in Montgomery's foot bothering him by week 4.
That
and now you have to start. Yeah. It's just so that's where I just think Marks is a little bit safer for that kind of role, but I think it is more of a micro take. I generally agree with you that like one of the things that I find frustrating about Keaton Mitchell is that I think in another world we'd have plenty of Keaton Mitchell, but he just goes so high. Like he's going around ahead of Marks. And and like, you can argue that Marks actually doesn't have any kind of difference in the role, and certainly Mitchell's like way more exciting from the speed and everything. But Marks is a third down back. Like that is what he does. He catches the ball. The whole point of him is that he can catch the ball. So he'll have some kind of standalone value for sure. And then he has very clean contingent value.
Ryan is also going to play every 3rd and 10.
I'm actually not sure that he will because he looks so washed that's like one of those things that like by the end of the year, he just doesn't have that job anymore.
Sure. Well, then to rephrase, like last year, Samaje Perine played every 3rd and 10, but like you certainly wouldn't have wanted to have drafted him in the 140s.
Yeah, fair.
And like I'm not sure that like I'm projecting this to basically look like 2024, which was Mixon plays literally everything except for 3rd and 10 and 2-minute drill, which is Daria Gumbawale, and that's pretty much what I'm projecting for Woody Marks.
You think you have
plus
Marks?
He will get
Woody Gumbawale.
Plus, he will get Dameon Pierce's like 4 snaps per game on early downs. But like, I think like you can just.
Well, I'm at 15% Montgomery, so I'm pretty into this take. But
I'm not.
I guess I'm a little more skeptical
that I'm not sure Montgomery can handle it.
That's what I just don't think he can actually.
I think that's the plan. I mean, Mixon couldn't handle it. He got hurt.
Right. But I mean, we saw from last year, like Marks is a pretty clean contingent bet in that sense.
Totally.
As well.
Yeah. So I've taken some Marks as like a.
And I don't think Keaton is that clean. Where he will split with Vidal. The part Gretsch did convince me on is that there's more upside than I was thinking. That he could be like a really fun kind of 1A back with Vidal.
Right. That's what's changed my view, because I was looking at it more as like I was like in base, I think this is like a 65-25-10 split, and then like if Hampton went down, it would be like probably like a 65-35 split for Vidal. Whereas now I'm looking at it as like maybe it's at least 50-50 with Vidal.
Yes, that's what
And also 50-50 in that Keaton is getting all of the candy and Vidal is getting all of the turnips. And so like you probably really want the candy.
Is this an old Canadian saying? Canadian?
No, I just tried to think of like
candy and turnips.
What is like the least inspiring vegetable possible to describe.
It is a pretty good one.
Like an exclusive diet of pass protection snaps and inside zone, and I was like, I think turnips would be like what Kamani Vidal would be getting.
That's a good one because there's some vegetables that like aren't go-tos but really shine in certain dishes, and I can't really even think of one where turnips is
like. Have you ever been someone like if you ever read a recipe and someone was like included turnips, like wouldn't you always rather it just be something else?
Yes. I mean, even like carrots is not a particularly, like high, it's not a glamorous vegetable, but there's times when carrots can really, do their thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrots.
I think one of the reasons I've been getting more, well, I haven't because I changed my mind on this yesterday, but one of the reasons I could get more into Keaton Mitchell is like you're bringing up like Woody Marks, who I don't take. And and I'm also pretty out on Tracy. I don't know where you're at on Tracy, but
I'm out
I've
on
been like
Tracy. I think
not into that.
Singletary being back sucks. I mean, that's all he
Yeah.
does. He just takes over. And Tracy last year, I just think Tracy was an interesting guy as a rookie. They took a look at him. They decided kind of let's roll the dice again and see if we can find Tracy, but a little bit better. They found exactly that. And Scadaboo
Right.
is going to be clearly the starter if he's healthy enough to handle it. And I'm not sure the contingent value is super clean now with Singletary. So.
No, I don't think so. So my point is, it's not like I've ever really been drafting any running backs that don't go around ahead of Keaton Mitchell. Anyway. It's just been that's been like a wide receiver tight end range for me, pretty much
me
on Underdog.
Me too.
Whereas
Or quarterback, you can get if you need it.
Yeah, or quarterback. I haven't really been doing a lot of quarterback in that range. Usually it's like I'm drafting quarterbacks up until Baker, and then I'm probably not drafting quarterbacks until we get to like Geno, Mendoza. Like I think I'm pretty low on the collective of like who's in that group? Ward, Darnold, Jones, Stroud. That's not really been my guys.
Yeah, I've actually. It's funny because I probably have more Jones than you do.
I have some Jones because I have so much Downs that like sometimes he's there, and I have Downs.
I have some Darnold. I have some Stroud. I don't have a ton of Ward, but if I have Titans and I need a QB, I certainly could do that. Would be more like a QB2. Like I don't have a QB2. Take Ward stacked and tack on Aaron Rodgers or something. But it's not where I'm living at quarterback.
Favorite area of the draft to take quarterback. I've done it, but like it's probably because I've like
you've done something else.
Chance to like push.
Yeah.
It's been like I don't know. Like let's say I have two Packers and Jordan Love was there for me like 7 picks ahead of his ADP, but I decided to try and push it and see if I could get him 6 picks after ADP, and my gamble didn't work. So now I'm stuck with one quarterback. And it's like, I guess like I have to now like eat my turnips in the form of CJ Stroud and like tack on Dalton Schultz after that. Which feels terrible. So that's been kind of the deal. So my point being, I feel like it'll be easier for me to get in on Keaton because I don't really have to stop drafting other running backs. I just have to take more Keaton.
I don't think CJ Stroud. Yeah. I hear you.
And less like, and like I probably am taking too much Rashid Shaheed. Also, he's been getting positive buzz, so
I've been taking more of it. Yeah, the buzz on him. Yeah,
because I have like, oh god, how much Rashid Shaheed? I feel like I was like on Rashid Shaheed Island all off season.
I just arrived. The leg up boats arrived. We're taking them now.
Because I did like a full article on Rashid Shaheed. He was one of the five under the radar guys that I was drafting like at 25% or higher. He's my second highest drafted receiver, only behind Concepcion. And he's one where I'm like, I'd prefer him to move up around so I can draft less. Like I don't need to have 26% Rashid Shaheed.
This is how I feel about Debo and probably Omar Cooper at this point. I'm just like, come on, guys. Am I about to have 40% Omar Cooper?
We're gonna just have to keep drafting, man. Like that's not.
Yeah, we just got to keep doing it.
Up. If anything, I think he's gonna move down because I am pretty sure like 80 is gonna be their starting receiver and 2 wide receiver set. So like, I think it's more likely that Cooper gets flipped by 80 Mitchell before the end of draft season than that Cooper like starts moving up a round or two. So I think we're just gonna go down with the ship on Omar. Like the entire Jets offense, I have so much exposure to, and it's like
it's concerning.
I don't want to be this exposed to the Jets. That's a what am I missing thing. I guess what I'm missing is it's the Jets.
Yeah, can someone explain this to me? And everyone's like, it's the Jets, guys.
But are they gonna be that bad? Because
someone clip this. 54 minutes into the we just have to have it ready for. Are the Jets gonna be that bad?
I'm serious. Are they? Because if this were a different team, if this were any team but the Jets, and you told me their skill position group is a guy that I think most people would say is like one of the between like the 8th and 12th best running back in the league. Also a pretty obvious RB2. And then they have a rookie tight end that they took 16th overall. They have a receiver
who's cheap
like
now.
probably between the 10th and 15th best receiver in the NFL and has like a 25 to 30% target share every single year. Also, they have another when he's going in the 4th round, and then they have another 2 starting wide receivers who are a 1st round pick going like in the 12-13 turn, and another guy who's like pretty talented who's basically free. And they have no one else at wide receiver. There's no doubt of who's going to run the routes for them.
So
literally
true.
No one can name their wide receiver 4, so it's only those 3 guys. Like that's a skill position group that's like with those ADPs, it doesn't make sense. I guess like I don't know. Do people think Geno is truly the worst quarterback ever? I mean, he did play that way last year.
They have a good offensive line though.
Totally
Their offensive line is actually solid.
Yeah. I mean, they have 2 tackles that might be, not only is it solid, but like it might actually be good depending on how much progression you build in for the 2 tackles, right? Like there's a world where Membu takes a step this year and everyone's like, oh, this is one of the 5 best left tackles in the NFL. That's like in play.
Yep.
Fashanu, similarly,
100%.
like elite pedigree guy. Like they could have like one of the 5 best tackle duos in the league. The interior is a little sketchy. But I don't know. I guess it's the Frank Reich of it all. People really hate Frank
and the
Reich,
Aaron Glenn,
and I get that.
And just how uninspiring they were last year, and just like the playing to go home. I just hate it. I hate when these teams just are like, what if we ran the ball, just have a minus 8% PROE and just like have an early dinner. Yeah, it's just, God damn, guys.
It's just, I don't know. I've spent like basically my entire fantasy football career being high on the Jets and never being rewarded for it. Maybe I shouldn't be mocking the rest of the world. Like, I don't know how many more years like I have to have 20% exposures to the freaking Jets just to get like destroyed again. But here's my current Jets exposure on I'm reading it off of Underdog.
Let me pull it up.
Because I have way more volume there, but like it's painful to admit out loud. Braylon Allen, I'm at 36%.
Oh my god,
that's gonna come down.
36% Braylon Allen's the new meme, I think.
The rest of these, I don't even know if they're gonna come down. That one's gonna come down for reasons I explained earlier. The rest of these, I'm like fine with. I think 21% Garrett Wilson, 20% Geno Smith, 14% Breece Hall, 14% Kenyon Sadiq, 13% Omar Cooper, and 10% AD Mitchell. That's right. Every single New York Jet, I'm above market on. 100% above market rate.
So I'm playing this differently. I've got I am at 5% Allen. As I talked about, I think that comes up as I get more running back stabs that I like down there, and I can kind of start. Like, I don't know which running back 4 I'm going to get cheap, but I feel confident that I'll find someone. There's people down there. It'll be fine. Right now, I'm often heading into those range.
People down there.
Sometimes there's no people. You're like, I need just a person at running back. Or like, oh, everyone left, dude. This party ended an hour ago.
Except for Braylon. He's always there. He's like John Travolta.
Yeah, but you kind of need like, I don't know. Sometimes you're drafting more running backs overall. So it's like I can finish with 4 running backs or 6, but I kind of only have 4 that I think are draftable,
Yeah, fair.
So, but I'm at 7.8% Geno. I'm at 8% Sadiq, who I thought was a straight up bad pick early on, but I'm now even with the field on. I'm at 8% Mitchell, who I thought was kind of a jam and has moved up. I'm at 8% Wilson, 8.2. So I'm basically dead even. There's a lot of guys I like in the 4th. 8.2% Breece Hall. I think he's a good pick where he goes. I'm not jamming him. And then 28% Omar Cooper. So I'm playing it. Wow. I'm playing it through the first round rookie. I think of these options, he stands out pretty clearly as the guy who's just like straight up mispriced. I think you make arguments for everyone else, and Sadiq is getting more mispriced by the day.
Yeah, he is. I was not high. I was not above market on Sadiq early on. That's a later exposure now that he's like going in the 160s. The reason I'm at 13% Cooper is directly related to the 26% Rashid Shaheed. But I think that we're gonna flip that the rest of the way because we're
taking more Shaheed now, so I think Cooper comes down a little. Yeah,
I think Shaheed's gonna move up a bit in ADP off of this run of news, and I think Cooper's gonna come. Part of the reason I haven't been rushed on Cooper is just that I just don't think that the like AD Mitchell's playing over him and 2 wide receiver sets reports are going anywhere anytime soon. So
It's not that I'm
I'm not
in a
worried about
CLV
Cooper
play.
rising in price.
I just think he's a jam.
No, I mean, I agree he's a jam. It's just that there's been other guys that I think are jams that I think I am going to get CLV on. So I've been taking less of Cooper, but I'm probably going to take more Cooper. If Shaheed goes up, I'm going to take more Cooper, and if Shaheed doesn't go up, I'm still going to take more Cooper because I'm not twice as confident in Shaheed as I am in Cooper. I've also taken a ton of Coker. I don't know if you've been in on Coker.
I don't draft Coker that much.
I have a shit ton of Coker. What am I at there? I'm at I'm at 16% Coker, and then the other one is Diggs, who for better or worse is not going to be going where Omar Cooper goes for long. Like he'll either be going in the 80s or he won't be getting drafted by the end of the summer. So like one of those two things I feel like is happening, and then he will no longer have any overlap with the Omar Cooper exposure.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think Cooper, I don't have so much Diggs, I don't have so much Coker. I have I want more Shaheed, and but I am underweight there. So part of it is that for me it's been kind of Hunter and Omar Cooper, but Omar Cooper even more so than Hunter, just because like Hunter, we can all debate about how much he plays receiver, and there's truly a good people on both sides situation where like how could you know for sure? So it's like kind of how you're reading the tea leaves on it, and he will play some receiver. The question is how much, right? So there's different ways to interpret it, but with Cooper, I'm like, this is a first round pick who is going to play immediately. Like, is the concern that they play Mason Taylor and Sadiq, who's like pretty raw, by the way, so they could and they just operate base 12? Because I don't think that's what's happening. I think they're going to be a base 11 team, like most teams.
Yeah, they're also going to be down 20 the entire game.
Down
so how
a
much
ton.
12 can you play?
Yeah, so he's just starting slot receiver on a team that's going to pass a ton, and he's like at pick 145. What are we doing?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the 12 stuff, and like I don't know, I'm pretty dubious on how much 12 they're going to play. Like, Reich's played a lot of 12 back in Indianapolis when they had Ebron and Doyle, but he didn't really do much of it in Carolina. I think they're going to be down so much it doesn't matter, and I don't care about Mason Taylor. Like he's a player that seems to exist more in other people's consideration of this offense. He's not a big factor in how I see this offense, because I don't think he's a big factor in how the Jets see this offense. Because I think if he were, they would.
Apparently, he was behind Jelani Woods there for a minute, and then they cut Woods, so it doesn't matter. Or no, they didn't cut Woods. They a projection came out for the roster, assuming they would cut Woods by the Athletic. I think where I also saw the Jelani Woods looks better.
Woods on the Jets right now. He's on the Jets.
I'm pretty sure Jelani Woods is on the Jets.
Frank Reich signed Jelani Woods.
Yeah, and he was out playing Mason Taylor, and then on the Athletic, a follow-up report was like, yeah, Jelani Woods kind of fell off. He looks not so great anymore, so Taylor's probably safe.
Shocking.
Or so, Mason Taylor's safe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a minute there, I think if the Jets gave the slightest shit about Mason Taylor, they wouldn't have spent 2 first-round picks on a slot receiver and a tight end.
That's what I think.
They feel about Mason Taylor.
That's what I think.
They saw enough and they don't like him and they don't want to play.
Yeah, yeah. So, and if he matters, he'll matter for Sadiq, not Cooper. I think because again, like they're not going to be based. I mean, teams even now aren't playing that much 12. 11 is still generally the base offense. So it's
especially the base offense. If you go and
draft
a guy. Well, if you suck, yeah, especially if you suck. But, like, they're invested in 3 receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're actually not that invested in AD Mitchell. I just think that he's, like, a clearly better player to play than Mason Taylor. Yeah. But, like, so I would just do that instead. Like, I look at the Bears, and I'm like, this is a team that, with their actions, has told us they intend to be in base 12. Right? Like,
Yeah, I agree.
They drafted Sam Roush. They let DJ Moore go. They let Olamide Zaccheaus go, and they did basically nothing at wide receiver except for draft a wide receiver who they might convert to running back, and then they like signed Khalif Raymond, I guess, who usually has like a 25% route rate. Yeah. So like I think with their actions, they're like, we want to play a lot of 12, and in fact, we actually want to play a lot of 13. And like we'll probably work in 11 sometimes, but their personnel screams we want to be in 12 as much as humanly possible. The Jets, The Jets don't scream that at all. All the Jets did was they drafted a guy that sucked last year, who had a terrible prospect profile, predictably was bad, and then they immediately replaced. Like, it's like, okay. That's like to say they're going to be in base 12 would be like saying the Steelers want to play 3 running backs on the field because they took Caleb Johnson last year, who they hate.
That's good.
Like, they probably just don't want to play Caleb Johnson, who they hate. Like,
that's. So I jumped in the 555 here. There's 2 seats left on 555. If you want to draft a team together, happy to split the equity with you. Give me 2 hours of your Friday. But if you did want to draft your own, if you're trying to get more volume down there and go against each other, we could do that too.
Fun.
So either way, up to you.
Let me pull this up. That might be more fun for the people.
The people might enjoy that one more, but totally up to you.
Yeah, that might be fun. Let me get this in here. If I am able to join in time, then I will. Let me see here. My website is like bugging out on locations.
There's still 2 left, so the trick is to go to the deposit. Go to the deposit thing, and then it'll clear your location, and then that location check I think works differently.
I hit deposit, and I keep saying this is taking a bit longer than usual, and they're right. It is. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, still 10 to 12, so hopefully you're able to get in.
I think we'll be okay. Yeah, I'll be in momentarily.
All right. But yeah, I think you're right about Taylor. Would be surprised if he impacts their first. I mean, even as he was a 2nd round pick last year and then wasn't good. So wouldn't the 1st round pick they just spent?
Right. Like sometimes teams take a guy, and then they realize like, oh, like this guy isn't good.
Yeah. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of Terrence Ferguson, where are you at on his increased ADP?
I'm
kidding.
I've been won over.
You have? Oh no.
Yeah.
Davis has got to be tilting. He goes on vacation, and then you spent all of his vacation coming around on his favorite players.
Davis got pissed because I before Ben did the Keaton Mitchell thing, I told Davis that Ben had got me on Terrence Ferguson, and then Ben got me on Keaton Mitchell, and so then Davis was like, "Is what's going to happen all year is that I talk to you for 4 months about a guy, and then you talk to Ben about him for 20 minutes, and you change your mind?" And I was like, I guess that is what's going to happen. Yeah. Basically, I said the biggest difference is that whenever Davis makes his case, one of me or you interrupts him within 15 seconds. So it makes it a much more challenging case.
That's
Whereas
true.
Ben has the privilege of getting to write.
He just writes out the whole argument. Yeah.
Uninterrupted. So it makes it a little bit easier.
Are you in here, by the way? I still don't see you.
No, I'm coming in right now.
Okay.
It's this 555 that's happening like live, right?
It's just the regular 555.
Yeah. All right. There we go. I had to deposit a little extra in. That's why it took me so long.
Got it. We're still going to be waiting on one more once you're in. So if anyone in the chat wants to join us, I might also just start dropping some Discord ads. Yeah, the biggest single it's over moment of last year was Caleb Johnson bungling that kick return.
That was really over. There we go. 11 or 12, so I'm in now.
Beautiful.
My DraftKings icon, because I have been on DraftKings since long before I got into fantasy football, and I don't think you can change it, or at least I haven't tried to, is Devontae's Inferno with the AJ.
Oh, we're right next to each other,
sunglasses.
Dude.
Oh, really?
That's yeah. You're one and I'm
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that'll be interesting for content. Although you're in the
so
better
fair.
spot, you get to snake me on all the
Yeah,
long
Zach did this
turns.
to me the other day. We drafted, I guess, no, 2 days ago on in a 5-5-5, and he was at the 9 and I was at the 12, which is, I think, a more frustrating place to be. At least you have the 101. That is fun.
That is fun. Like it's nice to have $555 American dollars invested in Jameer Gibbs. So that's good.
You mean Bijan Robinson, right? Because that's who you're going to take.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have you.
Maybe I'll take Jonathan Taylor. No.
It is nice to have. I have I think I have 1-5-5-5 with Gibbs, which is nice. I think this will be my second with Bijan. But yeah, not a bad spot. Someone asked what spot we would want to be in. I would have said the 101.
I would have said the 101,
Jacob did
but
get
I
the
would have
one.
said the 101, but not with you at the 102.
Yeah, that's exactly what it. Yeah. I'm actually not sharing my screen, so let me go ahead and do that.
Yeah, 101 is ideal, but I really don't like the idea that any player that I want on the long turn is going to be going to Unk Bluehen over there. So.
Yeah, that's. I try to change it to chopped Bluehen, but you can't change your username.
What is the story behind UNC Bluehen?
It's like my dad went to UNC, and so a big Tar Heels fan. So
nice.
UNC Blue and then Bluehen. I went to University of Delaware, so that's the kind of the
right.
I would genuinely change it if I could, but here we are, Yeah.
So I kind of like the. I wish that it like showed when I made this my username, because despite not doing any fantasy content at the time, like this shows that I consider myself kind of the earliest person on Davante Adams, to the point that I named my DraftKings icon Davante's Inferno during like his rookie season when he sucked. So it's like one of the biggest wins I've ever had.
I was right there with you,
before I did
man.
any content. So like the only relic of that W is this lasting DraftKings name.
Davante Adams had it's not on YouTube anymore. I actually looked for it I think last year, but he had like the sweetest highlight reel. He's playing with Derek Carr. He just caught so many touchdowns. Yeah, well, low bar, but this dude just caught endless touchdowns, and it's just a really fun highlight reel set to music and stuff, and which I'm a fan of. If you're gonna, I kind of think some of these tape cut ups are just they're just highlight reels without music. So give me the music, and
yeah, of course. If you're gonna watch a tape cut up, like, you might as well just go to Just Bombs Production.
Yeah, come on. And I was big on Adams. One of the guys in the original Dynasty League I joined, I told him he was gonna be better than Odell Beckham, and he just got like endless laughs.
Not look good early.
Yeah, he like literally made fun of me for years, and like, by the way, I was right. It just took so long.
Turns out you're correct.
It just took so long.
Yeah, like
it looked so bad for a while.
I know. I was a huge Davante guy, and like, there were no stakes because I was doing zero content, so it was just like me and 5 buddies, and I had them all in leagues, and people are like, "This guy stinks," and then I remember being like, "Now he's good." It was really nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I chose that, because I also used to be kind of a Devontae Parker guy, so it could have just as easily have been Devontae with an E, Davante's Inferno, but I bet on the right. I bet on the right vowel of Devontae for this DraftKings name.
It's nice too, because he's hit a level where it will make sense later. Like 5 years from now, it won't be a bad username, because it's not just Devontae Parker. It's like you could have named it, like if you named your guy
Dante
after
Moncrief's Inferno.
Dante Moncrief's Inferno. I was gonna go with like Emmanuel Wilson, where you're like, big Emmanuel Wilson guy, huh? Like, it's just sort of like, he had his moments, but ultimately didn't quite reach username level.
The worst one is that my username on Underdog is Sander26, which is just like the first half of my name, and then like my old number. And and that was made before Miles Sanders came into the NFL wearing 26. And so then some people have been like, "Do you really like Miles Sanders?" And I've been like, "No."
That's so funny. That's so good. I mean, you were with me last year.
I did like him last year, and that
we were drafting.
Not go well.
Didn't work.
No, it did not. Really didn't work. Well, who are you going to snipe from me here? You can talk about your thoughts. I can. Not to my benefit to talk about.
Here,
mine.
I'll pull up the Sidekick because it's not actually. I was hiding the Sidekick with Sacrilegious, because he had me boxed out, so I didn't want him to see. But of course,
you're in the more advantageous position.
Yeah, so I can just kind of keep it up. But yeah, I mean, at this price, I would happily take Achane. I do like Nico Collins at his price. Derrick Henry, I don't have a ton of, so as you can see, I don't have him on a 5.55 yet. I would do that. He goes. So Collins is who I'm hoping for at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that would be who I'm hoping for, but I guess I don't have to worry about that. So.
And Collins goes.
Well, here we go. This sucks. Good news is
I'm gonna do McBride.
Okay, that's good because I probably wasn't actually gonna pick him.
Bummer for me.
So I'm gonna go Love for sure. And now I'm a little bit torn. But I'm gonna go Smith. I would have gone Love regardless, but I didn't really want to go Cardinal turn, which was why I was kind of leaning against McBride.
Yeah. Let me just, what I get, 17 seconds. I'm gonna try to find this other Bijan team because I'm like having a vague recollection that I had this exact same start if I go Rice. I'm gonna put Rice in the queue real quick.
6 seconds to find it.
I'm not gonna find it, so I'm taking Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got Pickens autoed.
Well, at least it's not a $555 draft.
I clicked it. Didn't you see? Did that not register?
I did see it. See it.
It didn't happen. Yeah. DraftKings wanted me to have Pickens, I suppose.
Yeah. That wasn't really as exciting as I was hoping for DraftKings. Like, usually on Underdog, like, I know if I'm in the one hole, I'm going to probably have a bad time at the 2-3 turn, but I thought maybe, like, something crazy would happen.
Yeah, something crazy.
Take Josh Allen at 19th overall, and we'd get Nico or Achane falling all the way back there, but that was pretty standard.
Oh, my God, dude. The start was Robinson, McBride, Pickens. So if I just taken Rice, I actually duped the start by trying not to dupe the start. That's bad.
Tough.
All right. Well, now I'm actually going to look at this team and try not to dupe it.
Try to avoid
the further duping.
A full dupe.
A full dupe. Yeah. All right. Robinson, McBride, Pickens is now the key to my 5.55 year.
Right.
Where are you at on Rice at this point?
Well, I was strongly considering him at this pick because I've been pretty out on Underdog. He's obviously the guy probably of any of these wide receivers who benefits the most from the full PPR. And so I thought he'd be kind of a fun name to get like a high stakes exposure to in a site that makes a lot of sense for him. So I was pretty tempted to click him there. My overall take has just been like fearfulness of betting on a player I don't really believe in as a talent, where I don't think that the offense is going to be at its best if they continue to make him the centerpiece of it. But I don't really know who else it would be because they didn't go ahead and add anybody else, which mostly just makes me think this passing game is going to suck. But if it doesn't, then Rice is probably going to be a pretty awesome part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just hard for it to suck because of volume and Mahomes. So it might not be as exciting as it should be. It probably will not be as exciting as it should be. But I mean, he's expensive enough where, it could be frustrating for sure, but I do wish I'd gotten him there, not having him with this pair to begin with. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think I definitely strongly considered him there because I'm pretty consistently going Smith and Pickens ahead of him on half PPR, the full PPR. Like, I mean, if I was doing projections, Rice clearly projects I think above those guys, and how I weight in sort of my like abstract talent concerns versus the projection is a little bit interesting. We got a 4 RB start, by the way, at the one
Yep.
2.
Yep. We'll see, because we can. This is easier to land the plane on than I think it has been, but it's also
Yeah,
someone might not land the plane, so we'll keep an eye on it.
yeah, that one's interesting. Unfortunately, his third round running back had one game or 2 games with more than 1 catch, I believe, for like the last 12 weeks of the season, and is a full PPR site.
Yeah, you do.
Are you slurping the Dipperino on ETN, by the way?
I haven't been that
I don't
into
think 37
ETN.
is the Dipperino, but
Yeah,
if,
it's
if
not
and
really
when
the Dipperino.
comes.
He fell to the mid fourth.
Yeah.
I guess I've just always, not always, but I've been assuming for a while now that Kamara would be there. So I guess I just don't really get. So I guess I will slurp the Dipperino because I don't really understand why he would fall a ton.
I wish I liked ETN more because
Yeah, me too.
I do really want to bet against Kamara mattering at all. Like, I see these pro Kamara posts, and it's kind of like negatively polarizing me into being in on ETN because I think that Kamara is unbelievably washed. But I don't really like ETN that much either. So it's been hard. But if he ends up falling to like the mid 4, I would be pretty in on that. Like, I think if it came down to like ETN versus Scatterboo, I prefer ETN.
Yeah, I agree. And that happened yesterday in that draft where we got Breece Hall in the middle of the 4th. ETN went in the late 4th. I think it was like 408 or 409 in that same draft. So Scatterboo goes. So I was really hoping Scatterboo go. So I checked this team that I had the exact same start, and it includes the 2 guys here at the top. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go McLaurin, who's the ADP faller.
Yeah.
And gives this team a little bit of a different flavor.
Well, this is not really what I was hoping to see. No big fallers. By ADP, we're basically right at it. So, let's see here. So I did J-Mo and Monty, which wasn't really what I was dreaming of at the 4-5 turn, but I do like Montgomery quite a bit. I don't love J-Mo quite a bit, but I think I like him a little more than I like Adams and Evans. So
I'm going to go Adams here. As you can see, I've already got plenty on Evans in the 5-5-5, and I have him on the team with the Bijan McBride pick and start. So mix up these veteran wide receiver profiles here. And I think I'm all right. I've got some stacking options set up. The other team, funnily enough, even though it didn't have Rice, I did take Mahomes, and then I backstacked him with I think it's actually Naked Mahomes, which is hilarious. But yeah, so Rice Mahomes would have been different than that team, but not super different. So anyway. Perhaps it's a Dak team. Although probably not, because Dak doesn't come back to the 8-11. Dak's going to end up on this Javonte team, I think.
Yeah, but you're going to have a good chance to get Daniels at your next turn with McLaurin.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but his ADP is more like mid-6th, but this Allen guy could be protective there. Maybe this Rice guy wants Mahomes. Let's hope.
Yeah, Dak goes 79, so probably you'd have to take him at the 7-2.
At the 7-2, which feels a little early, but DraftKings can get shaky at quarterback, so
it can, and he's better on DraftKings with the bonuses than he is on Underdog for sure. With 300-yard bonus.
Yeah, for sure. So you went Gibbs, Love, Smith, Williams, Montgomery. You're talking to Montgomery's role. I tend to agree with you, by the way, on Montgomery. It's just he is an older back. A bit dead zoney, one might say.
He's a lot dead zoney. I think he's a lot dead zoney, but I don't think he's like that meaningfully different in my eyes versus Javonte and Etienne, who go a full round ahead of him.
That's very fair.
So
yeah.
of the dead zoney guys, he's been the one that I like the most. I definitely would have taken Swift had he come to me. We argued about him on the Wednesday stream, and I would have been happier to take Swift here. I just, yeah, I mean, probably maybe I could have even just said screw the ADP and taken Bucky Irving, who I think I prefer in a vacuum to Montgomery, but I don't know. He goes a full round later here, and I feel like I'm like a boomer this year, I guess, but I like Monty in best ball at least more than Hendo and Tootin. I'm just more confident in the role there, and especially with this.
I do too. I mean,
yeah,
it's a best ball thing, but like it wasn't a good rookie running back class except for Jeremiah Love, who, by the way, you have. So like you could build in some, like Montgomery could help unlock Love in a slow starting season. You know,
that was part of the thought process
in a few different ways.
He adds a third running back. I start running back, but one of them is Love, who might get off to a slightly slower start. People want my mic up. I can turn my mic up. How's this, Ultra? Yeah, people. I have the 3 running backs in 5, so I'm probably not drafting a ton overall. I might have the slower start with Love, so I think like Monty as a third running back paired with Love makes a lot of sense. Swift would have been a similar version to the bet, who I like slightly more, but one of those boring guys I think is pretty reasonable in that range, even if it doesn't feel all of that amazing to do at the time.
There was a report I saw. I think a report might be strong, but there was some speculation that the Bears are going to be eyeing Monangai for a role in 2027 as potentially their starter, and might be auditioning him as their starter this year. Does that give you any queasiness?
I don't think that's going to go very well.
You're probably right.
I just look. I mean, oh, jeez, that sucks.
You were just gonna do Hurts and Lemon.
I don't know if I was gonna do Lemon or not because of like the price.
Yeah, the price.
I guess I knew he was. I mean, I knew he was
never
going to get back to me because
Smith.
you pick. But I was definitely going to do Hurts with Smith. So that now sucks.
I forgot about Smith. I was wondering why you were, particularly hurt on, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Well, one of these
Jaden Daniels getting back to me is nice.
I know. One of these picks, I know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to let that one time out. Well, I figure out the other one. So it's kind of fun to have like a higher stakes draft that makes me actually have to feel like I'm making choices, where I'm not just like kind of spurting around the ADPs. All right, this is an interesting spot. So I think I'll do. So I go, Marvin Harrison. I've talked about plenty on shows with you. Been a target. Comes back at 72. That was an auto pick. And then with Jalen Warren, who I didn't love, but I feel better about pushing into wide receiver later. I was really contemplating taking Kraft at that spot. Was the guy I was probably most between.
I'm going to take Lemon, who I think Hurts guy's going to box me out on.
Yeah, fair.
So I thought about pushing him because part of the reason that he's not top of the sidekick there is that his ADP is now 89. So I could potentially get him at 95, but I just don't think that was happening on this team.
No.
With Hurts there.
Probably pretty unlikely there. With Hurts.
Hurts is often on the other side of you if you're trying to push him back to the 8th.
Yeah.
But yeah, not having the inside track, I just wanted to grab him. Also did not have him on this this other team. Well, now the team's looking different. The team's looking different. That was Bijan,
nice.
McBride, Pickens, Montgomery, Evans, Price, Pollard. So a little different of a flavor now.
Definitely different flavor. Yeah, I'm ticked off at that Hurts guy. That was rude of him.
It was a little rude, you have to say. I was pretty nervous when this Jackson guy went Burrow because, obviously that's another quarterback who could have gone to the 3-hole.
Right.
Fortunately, took Stevenson, so I got Daniels. Daniels McLaurin. I don't have a ton of that actually, so that's a nice high stakes share.
I know, and then I felt good about Hurts coming back because I knew you had McLaurin, so I knew you were no threat to take Hurts as long as Daniels was on the board. And yeah, so that was kind of I would have been pumped if I could have done Hurts and Marv at that turn. Funny enough, I didn't. I am now really glad I didn't take Trey McBride because I would have had 3 Cardinals on this team, which is more Cardinals than I want. 2 is already more than I want, but I'm getting Harrison pretty much around after where I would rank him in a vacuum. So I'm pretty content with that.
By the way, this start for me, so I go Bijan, McBride, top of the sidekick, George Pickens not top, but Rashee Rice was, and so same position. Terry McLaurin, I scrolled down to get over Montgomery, I guess, so that I went off of the running back there. But then I think Evans was top, and I went Adams. Daniels was top, and then Metcalf was top. I went Lemon. So positionally, I did IKB off a running back once, but that's the only time, and I'm now going into full hero running back mode here. We'll see what comes back, but it's an interesting.
I didn't realize how different our builds were becoming. I have 4 running backs, and you got 1.
I've got 1, yeah. So it'll be kind of because it's one of those things where I am drafting like a lot of hyper fragile teams, but I think even within what I have drafted, like I have 0 running back teams and stuff where I'm mostly just following the sidekick, and I just not streamed any of them. And so this one's kind of fun. 0 running back. There's not 0 running. Hero running back build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you might get crazy lucky
with
Dak because the CD drafter took Herbert, but then right after him, our 4 running back friend took unstacked.
What did I say? I called this. I said Dak's going to go to that Javonte team.
Yeah. Oh, I guess he's not technically unstacked Dak. He's Javonte, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought when the CD McConkey drafter went Herbert that might be a pretty positive development for you, but it was not to be.
No, I had a feeling Dak was gone, but Daniel's getting back. Really,
Daniel's getting back is a
nice.
huge win.
Yeah.
At this point, well, I suspect one of my picks is going to be a deeply ahead of ADP Jared Goff. Not that deeply. It'll be 8 picks above ADP, but
not super. Yeah. Let's see. Goff.
Because I got Gibbs and James.
104.
So.
No, not too far ahead.
It'll be acceptable.
A little half round.
I highly suspect the sidekick would permit me a 8 picks ahead ADP Jared Goff as my double stack QB1.
I think so. Sidekick wants me to go naked Mahomes. I don't think Mahomes is getting back.
I love the way that you phrase as though of none of your own free will that you're being directed towards naked Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I guess it is my own free will in a way. But in terms of what's happening, like Mahomes it's the inputs I've created that tell me Mahomes.
Right. It's like you designed a third party to tell you to do what you want to do anyway.
But also I think Mahomes goes here. And also I have Mahomes and Purdy on that other team. It's different enough now, but I don't think I'm going to prioritize those same quarterback. I'm going to take Josh Downs, who I assume you will take if I don't.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Yep.
All right, so one of these picks is Goff. I got to figure out what the other pick is going to be because it would have been awesome if the other pick could have been Josh Downs. Now it won't be. So I think I'm going to do Goff and planning.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go Blake Corum here. Bet on the Rams a little bit more. Rams touchdowns are very good for me with Devontae Adams. and Blake Corum and fill out RB2 finally.
I'm actually glad you took Downs, because I would have had a tough choice between Fannin, who I see as the last guy at a tier at tight end, and I didn't have a tight end yet, or Downs, who I just really like. So it would have been a pretty tough call for me, I think. But then it became a very easy call when he took Josh Downs off the board. So.
Yeah, Josh Downs is he's so fun, man. I really hope that he plays as much as he deserves to play.
I agree. Well, I had said earlier that one of the things I like about DraftKings is the wide receiver window extends a little longer, and I only have 3. So
yeah, you better hope it does.
We're gonna test how long it extends. Yeah.
We're very different builds now, which is kind of fun.
Quite different, yeah.
You'll be hopefully staying out of each other's way a little bit here. Could be worse if we were building the exact same style team.
True.
Sitting right next to each other.
That is very true. I gotta figure out what the hell I'm doing with my stacks, though, because we have Goff is 1, and then unfortunately the entire rest of my team is unstackable, because we have Smith with Hurts, who's gone. We have 2 Cardinals, and a Brown, and a Steeler, so it's not really the most enticing group of stack candidates, so we'll have to figure that out. I do feel as though I'm like veering towards eventually betting on Malik Willis hitting the 100-yard bonus potentially from rushing. Would you say it's more likely he hits the 300-yard bonus from passing or the 100-yard bonus from rushing more times this season?
It's like minus 180 rushing.
Yeah, probably, right?
He's a bigger favorite than Spain over Argentina.
This is like the saddest version of I obviously wasn't alive during this period, but it's been retold to me that in like NHL pools back in the day, Wayne Gretzky was such a hack that you couldn't draft him. They made him undraftable.
Hack
so you could
complimentary.
either draft. Yeah, hack complimentary. Like there was a point in time where he was scoring like 180. Like I think his top point scoring season was like 215 points in 82 games. And so you had to draft.
What would be like a normal? Players. I don't have any baseline.
Well, right. Well, like back then it was a little different because people scored more. But like currently, the typical leader in points in the NHL is like 110, 115.
So he's like almost doubling
double
up.
that.
Jesus.
So like, let me just look up. I'll look up the actual points season so I can like paint the idea.
It's 2 for a goal and 1
85,
for an assist.
85, 86. So
okay.
1985 NHL points leaders. Here, maybe I'll do this after I make my pick, but then I'll get on HockeyDB. But the point is that he was so dominant that you had to divide him into 2 players, and people would either draft Gretzky's goals or Gretzky's assists.
Oh my God!
And I feel like that's Malik Willis, like the sad version of that. You can either take Malik Willis or Malik Willis.
I was gonna snipe you, but I have been sniped.
Well,
Jordan Mason and even out this Vikings.
I don't think I was gonna take Rashad White because I have 4 running backs.
Yeah, probably not.
It would have been good for the bid equity.
I had a whole. This guy already said, "Sniped your homie." That's cold. I was gonna pull that up as I took Rashad White. It was a whole thing, and
it would have been a good thing.
Just bums me out. Yeah,
it would have been a good thing. Okay, what am I gonna do here?
Interesting that Jones is still the top guy for me.
This is an interesting spot, to say the least. So, I'm gonna do. Despite not really loving the idea of going double Browns, double Cardinals, I'm going to take KC because just to me, obvious best player on the board, and I only have 3 receivers. And this is a little wonky, but I don't know what the heck my stacks are going to be, and I'm hating the quarterbacks. I'm going to take Naked Baker and maybe backstack him with like McMillan or Kate Otten or something.
I get it. I'm actually going to do this double up of the Vikings backfield for running back 3 and 4. Do you hate that, or do you?
No, I
do
like
you not
that.
hate it? Okay,
I don't hate
nice.
that at all. I was on Neil Orfield's show 2 days ago, and he had a really interesting set of questions. And one of them was, if you draft Bijan or Gibbs, and you don't have any other running backs through the first 8 rounds, how would you build out your ideal
Well, this
running
is
back room?
literally the team I'm building.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't say double Vikings, but I did say double Commanders.
Hmm.
Um, and like part of the logic was, and it was through the first 7 rounds. So it was literally your team. It was like the first running back you can take is at the 8-9 turn, or second running back you can take after Bijan or Gibbs. And my team is almost identical to yours. I had said Jonathan Brooks in the spot that you took Corum. He obviously was way off the board by now in this draft. And then I said I'd go commander with White and JCM, just from the theory of like, I'm going to take one guy who I'm not really expecting that much from early, but I'm hoping is a late season hammer. And then I'm going to lock in RB2 some way or another with the double commander.
Yep.
So you're doing like a very similar build to that with Corum and then the double Vikings. But you're doing it for actual money. I was answering a hypothetical question, so yours is probably more effective.
Yeah, I think
This
this is
this
pretty
by the
fun.
way, this by the way is 1986 NHL season. So like to put into context how good Wayne Gretzky is, he had 215 points that year. Second place was Mario Lemieux at 141. So that's like a point per game player worse was the second best player. And the third and fourth best players in points per game or in points were just Wayne Gretzky's line mates.
Because they were assisting him,
Right. So it's Paul
and he
Coffey,
was
who
assisting
is
them.
the defenseman who was on the same, and Yari Curry, who's Wayne Gretzky's winger. So it's just the other two members of the Edmonton Oilers power play were second and third. So like all of the points that Wayne Gretzky is getting are just like
Just going
goals
to
that
them.
he's assisting or people assisting him.
Assisting him. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Oh my
So
god.
it would be like if like I guess there's not really an equivalent in football, but it would essentially be like if I don't know if like Tom Brady was like leading the NFL in passing yards by like 1,500 yards,
Yeah.
and then also
It
he
would
was maybe
almost
playing
be
wide
like if there was
receiver.
a
I'm not
receiver.
sure.
Yeah, it's like a receiver in a way, but it doesn't quite work
No, it
because
doesn't.
only one person can assist a
Maybe it
receiver
would be
by
like
throwing to them.
if like Miles Garrett had like 30 sacks, but like
You know what it
half
would
of
be
them were
like?
half sacks, and
Yeah.
so then like some other Rams defensive end has like 15 sacks that are entirely just half sacks that he shared with Miles Garrett. I don't know.
No, I think it would be like imagine if you have like a Browns quarterback room situation where like everyone's kind of they're just gonna play a few different guys, and so like there was no starting quarterback basically, but that like Shador and Watson were top 15 quarterbacks because a Browns receiver went so hard, like a Randy Moss level situation.
Yeah. The funny thing is we have three different people. We have Chris Kopp is saying Gretzky's good, basically. We have Sean G is saying actually Gretzky is overrated. And then we have DeBear saying stop talking about hockey.
Hey,
All
if
perspectives
Jacob
have been
Sanderson's
taken.
on, we're talking hockey, man.
All
That's happening.
perspectives are spoken for. All right. Let's talk fantasy football. You're back on the clock.
All right, I'm going to take Sam Darnold, who
Sweet.
I feel like you're in quarterback need mode enough that maybe you take. I don't think you will, but he's who I need the most. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that.
This is going to be the easiest turn of my draft because I took Naked Baker, so I'm going to take McMillan now, and then I'm going to take my boy Chigakonkwo, who you might have taken because you have Daniels, but I didn't do it to spite you. He's simply my boy.
I'm going to take Omar Cooper, who I thought you might take. I kind of thought you would take Omar Cooper, but because I had Hunter as cover, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Well, I should have more exposure to Hunter, but more high stakes exposure to Cooper. But I think of the two, like Cooper, to like when I think about like, okay, it's the end of the year, you've got a team that's advancing. you want it to be a Hunter team or a Cooper team? I tend to think like probably Cooper. Or just like he's out there. He's gonna run sufficient routes, you know. I think Hunter's like a little bit of a bigger swing in some ways and also not because you know, like does Thomas get traded? Oh my god, what a smash. Does someone get hurt? Oh my god, what a smash. But in like the normal course of things, I think Cooper accesses like something fun relatively easily by just like being pretty good.
Totally.
You know? So
totally. I probably would have taken Cooper if I didn't do the naked proactive Baker thing, which I felt like really pushed me onto McMillan, who's someone I usually don't draft. But I also like I'm sitting on 4 receivers prior to that pick, one of whom is a rookie, so felt like getting like a sturdier veteran probably made sense. I could have gone receiver, which I thought about, but I really like this range of tight end that includes Okonkwo and then some of the guys after him. But looking at the ADPs, like I expect the best tight end available when it comes back to me to be like TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz, that I'm a lot less in on. And I know you had the really early tight end, so I wanted to get a tight end too that I feel a little bit better about. But I'm gonna have to crank some wide receivers down the stretch here. 5,
yeah, and I
so
had the McLaurin Daniels stack, so I wasn't too just structurally. I think Darnold jumps out, and then I maybe would have considered Okonkwo there, but Cooper.
Was that a naked Darnold?
Such a jam, man. It is a naked Darnold, but I kind of felt like it was a necessary naked Darnold because
that's a fun
Jones goes, Stroud is gone,
Darnold,
Willis is gone, yeah.
I wasn't gonna take him because I just taken the Baker pick, so I'm at 2 now, and I'm probably gonna take like this. I'm actually leaning towards making this a 4 quarterback team with like a really gross one of the Cardinals guys and one of the Browns guys. Is like currently where I'm leaning because I have 2 Browns and 2 Cardinals. So this might be the only team I'd build that way, but that's kind of where my head is at currently. The exception to that is if Rodgers is there, I might consider that with Warren.
Yeah, although he's popping for me, so
he's popping up for you. Yeah, fair enough.
Which is kind of interesting with Daniels, but you know, the quarterbacks, it's like, especially in something like this where you don't need a perfect team. It's 2 of 12, 2 of 8, 1 of 8, 52 seat final. It's like like literally a big part of the battle. I mean, it's 2 of 12, then 2 of 8. So the round 1 is harder than round 2, which is uncommon for this general style of best ball.
Yeah.
So I probably will just take Rodgers.
Fair enough. So I'm 2, 4, 5, 2.
And then Rodgers. So this guy already has 3 quarterbacks. This guy's got 2. So yeah, Rodgers can be there for me probably. No!
Ouch.
It's all right. I'm going to grab old Dylan.
Who are you taking?
Dylan Sampson.
All right. That works because I hit my 2 Brown limit, so I wasn't going to go. I'm going to go a 3rd Brown. So I think I'll survive on that front. Let's see. I will take Jonah Coleman, who's a guy we didn't mention, but is probably my favorite running back value on DK specifically in this range. Falls quite a bit more. And then I just got to figure out which of these receivers that I like the most. There's a few that are of interest. But I think I'm going to go... legitimately torn, but I'm going to go Debo, and I'm going to hope that he signs.
I also hope Debo signs. I'm going to go AJ Barner stacked up with
that makes sense. There you go.
Sam Darnold. So,
are you going to take like Cooper Kupp in the 19th round too? Just
maybe
extra gross.
Yeah, maybe. Kupp is not an exciting click to the surprise of no one, but
certainly not. I was torn there because I don't think any of these guys come back, but I was I'm curious what you would have done. I was torn between Debo 80 Mitchell and Trey Harris there as the wide receiver picks.
I'm Debo there. I just think Debo in the 15th. I mean, he's going to end up somewhere, and we're going to feel.
Right.
You're going to feel like, hey, I don't think he's going to feel like an absolute windmill jam, but I would not be surprised at all if Debo outscores Jalen McMillan or something like that. So, or
Right.
they score similarly. So you're like, hey, I got another 12th rounder.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I guess my slight fear is like if he just straight up doesn't sign.
So I literally
I'm like quite reliant on him on this team because like if he doesn't sign, like the receiver room is pretty darn thin. But like then I kind of just like talk to myself and I'm like, you know what, like don't be a little baby. Like if we're, because the thing is,
hey,
like,
man,
if I was drafting a $25 team, that wouldn't even be a thought that would enter my mind. But like then you get the $555 team and like the Canadian dollar is not quite as strong as the American dollar. And then you start thinking, it's like, man, like I really do hope Debo signs. And then I thought back on what was the old, it's like a ship chasing drafts, like it's a $5 dynasty team. Like I was like, what would I do if I was drafting a puppy? And I was like, I would take Debo. I think he's the best pick. So.
Yeah, and this doesn't like. Certainly, this hasn't like factored into any of the stuff we have on Debo. But as I was like going around, because I draft a lot of Debo, and
Same.
so I was like literally just going like, am I missing something? Am I like losing it here? Is this guy just straight up not playing football this year? He has like a YouTube series that he's putting out that's like very produced
tell me more
and
about
stuff.
This. I want to hear good stuff about
Debo. It's called Off Season. The series is Off Season, and it's just him working out, doing stuff. They're like, it's a guy like saying he's doing like this kind of press.
That's
like,
what I want
because it's good for football. This is a good, to get off like press coverage or whatever the shit. And he's like doing a bunch of like, doing a bunch of drills outside, running around, doing football stuff, catching the ball, catching a football. Like he's working out like a football player works out to get ready for the NFL season. Like
that's what I want to hear because he's been the one that's confused me the most why he hasn't signed. Like Diggs is an enigmatic personality, and he also has like some legal situations that seem not completely resolved, right?
No, it does not.
So like it's easy for me to envision why an NFL team would be like, yeah, we have some interest in Diggs. Maybe we'll just wait and see how that goes. And then, like, if things are resolved more closer to the season, because like you'd really hate to sign Stephon Diggs now, and then like something happens legally, he gets suspended or whatever else.
Right. That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense why he's not there. Keenan, I think, very well might just not play. Like there was the report last offseason that was like he would like to play for one of the LA teams or Chicago or not at all. I don't know if that's still true, but he's probably closer to the retirement stage of his
also
career.
I think Chicago would be out now, not that it matters because they don't need him, but although to be honest they could probably use a third receiver.
That
but
would suck.
That would suck, dude.
I would be so pissed off.
That would be really funny. That would actually be great for me, to be honest.
It'd be great for you. I would need to take like a sabbatical from fantasy content if he signed with the Bears. That would be annoying.
That would be so funny. He signed with the Bears, and we knew we could do. I could just do like this completely disingenuous victory lap of like, we always knew Keenan Allen would only sign with the LA teams and the Bears. People just didn't take him seriously. I need this to happen now. It'd be insufferable.
That'd be infuriating. That'd be absolutely horrendous. I would be down. I would be down horrendous if that happened.
That'd be so good.
Please no.
All right, I'm gonna go Calvin. Just an uninspiring click, but
certainly not an inspiring click, but a reasonable enough one. What am I gonna do here? Let's do 2-5-6-2. Let's get some of the wide receiver stuff going here. I'll take Wicks. Let's see.
I considered Wicks with Lemon, but I've got I've literally am almost $2,000 of exposure to Wicks. So I'm like, it's probably enough for today.
Let's see here. I'm gonna have 3 picks left after this. I think this is my last wide receiver pick, so I might as well just stack that bitch up, and I'll take Chet Hurst.
Sweet. I'm gonna go Geno. Stacked with Omar Cooper, about 20 picks past ADP, and I just don't really get why people are so down on the Jets this year, dude.
There you go. Yeah.
Putting my money where your mouth was earlier. I don't know.
Exactly.
Shouldn't you have to do this? Why am I having to do this? Because you're drafting the Browns. That's why.
Right. I consider Geno because I don't know, but I've talked myself into the into my Carson back to Deshaun Watson quarterback room.
Yeah, I actually you said that with such conviction because there've been a couple times this past turn when I took Sampson and then Barner. Geno, I think, was the top guy on the Sidekick, and I was like, I think I took him over Sampson, then Barner flipped him. That's what it was. But I was like, if I don't take Geno, Jacob might take Geno. But then I was like, Jacob's not taking Geno. He's going to take this Browns thing or whatever he's talking about. So I figured I was safe, and then Barner popped up with the stack, and then I get Geno anyway. I pushed him past you twice successfully.
Yeah. The last one was particularly daring. Who did you take? Calvin Ridley?
Ridley.
I know. I stand by doing what I thought was best for my team in the moment, but if I was thinking about this more strategically, I should have punished you letting Geno slide for the sake of Calvin Ridley, who I never remotely considered. Yeah.
Well, what it was is I wasn't 100% sure I was even going to take Smith because I liked Wicks and Hurst there too. But I had I just was looking at in the 5-5-5s where
especially easy then since I took Wicks and Hurst.
You took Wicks and Hurst, and then I was like, I'm not getting a ton of 5-5-5s in, so I am kind of keeping a little bit of an eye on the dollar exposure on this. And I had, I think, $175 of Ridley and about a couple grand each on Wicks and Hurst. So I figured, probably just take Ridley, top of the Sidekick, don't have him in a 5-5-5. And then if I get Wicks or Hurst, that's kind of who I really want anyway, if you snipe me on Geno.
Right.
But yeah, I assume Ridley's popping a little because I have Lemon and Cooper and kind of helping me get through round 1 of this tournament.
Have you seen reporting on Ridley that's been favorable at all?
Yeah.
Are we he's locked into 3 wide receiver sets?
It looks pretty good for him. Not anything crazy. It can only be so good.
Yeah, he's Calvin Ridley, but the thing that terrifies, I've taken him a bit. I've not been full fading. The thing that really scares me is I'm taking Calvin Ridley for safety. Obviously, you're not taking him for upside. So I just want to make sure I'm getting safety. It would be an absolute nightmare if I'm drafting Calvin Ridley just for him to get chain snatched by Alec Ayuman or whatever.
It would be DK, I think.
DK's not going to play outside of the slot, is he?
There was a report that Z is going to be Ridley or DK.
Oh, well, if that's the report, then I feel like Ridley's fine. I feel like DK is kick returner, punt returner, and Wan'Dale Robinson slot backup. I don't think Shamari DK is playing as a starter outside. That seems pretty wild to me.
Yeah, I also think there could be some not that Tate wouldn't play a lot, but that he would be maybe not 100% a routes kind of guy right away.
Yeah.
So I think Ridley's got some versatility. He could play X if they're kind of working in Tate a little bit slower. But yeah, Ridley has been actually reasonably efficient. It's not like he cratered in his efficiency. And the other guys were real bad last year. I know DK kind of flashes a slot a little bit, but I'm not real worried about him as an outside wide receiver threat. And Imanor was pretty bad.
Yeah, he was.
But Ridley over the last 2 seasons with the Titans, 1.86 and 1.89 yards per route run. It's shockingly efficient for the situation.
Yeah. I mean, the situation was also him playing against sub NFL quality receiving talent, but it was a terrible offense, so that is pretty decently efficient.
I assume you weren't gonna snipe me on the Twinkie Liced Hours, but
Fuck, I actually was.
Right.
God damn it. Fuck. I was gonna take a quarterback and then one of Emmett or Eli, and they went right in a row. That sucks a lot. Well, I'm gonna take one of the guys. Fuck, I was definitely going to take him. Well, this feels worse. You know what? Like, I'm on this show. Let's just do it. This will be my only share of him, probably in my entire portfolio. I'll take the Polar Bear.
That's so good. You don't even have Herbert or anything.
I needed a third tight end. It was going to be Stowers. I was locked in on Stowers. And then I was like,
I'm going to take Keenan, who we talked about.
That's a fun pick.
Yeah. And I just mentioned him with buying for. Is like, I'm starting to think about Keenan. Like, the zero risk obviously is quite real. He might just not play. But if he does play, like, he's playing. Like, there's no like Ayuk to it, or even maybe a little digs to it where, like, once he decides to play, does he matter? It's like, no, he matters. He's useful.
Yeah.
And then like I said, I'm over 2K on Brazil, so that's why I broke that tie.
Did you see the TJ Hushmanzada quote today on Brandon Ayuk?
I actually half saw it because I've been streaming for the last, like, 4 hours, but I saw that.
Like it.
I saw that he was like, he's donezo. So I haven't seen the full quote, but I gathered enough that
yeah. Where did it go? I had just seen, like, the full quote, and now I can't find it. But yeah, basically it was, I think it was something to the effect of, a month ago I was like, and now I'm not like, it's over. He's done. He's never playing in the NFL again. Absolutely not.
Wow. Does he know something we don't?
I think wasn't he like his mentor or something?
I think that was Jermaine Burton.
No, he's his personal wide receivers coach.
Oh.
Or was.
Who am I thinking of? Because Jermaine Burton, when the Bengals signed him, they're like, we have a plan for this guy. We like have him.
That was also TJ Hushmanzada.
That was also
Hushmanzada operates like a private coaching.
Yeah.
Service
well, hey TJ, maybe fix your site a little bit there, because you know what I mean. Jermaine Burton and Brandon Ayuk. Like, at this point, I'd be like, I'm lowering guys when TJ starts mentoring. What is he saying?
Oh, that's tough.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it's not a great advertisement for him. Who do you think's had a rougher run of, like, recent clients? TJ Hushmanzada wide receiver school, or the Quincy Avery quarterback school?
Who's Quincy Avery's guys?
Isn't it Quincy? Am I missing the name? Isn't it Quincy Avery? The Watson guy? Yeah, Quincy Avery.
Probably still him. that's enough. I don't even know who the other clients are, but
he has Hurts, which is, I guess, like, kind of good. It was better before.
Wow, that's big of you to admit.
Net win.
That's big of you. Win.
But, like, he actually has a lot of, like, good clients, but he like, unfortunately, like, really loves to, like, continue to this day to, like, really support Deshaun Watson vocally, which I feel like kind of crowds out the success of other clients.
Was it Monken who was just recently like, yeah, he's a great guy? Is that Monken?
I think it was Monken, but I feel like unfortunately you kind of have to, right? Like, if I was the coach of the Browns, like,
you don't have to.
He's my quarterback. Like, what are you gonna say?
Did say wrist up.
Just get drafted?
Yeah, Sam's in this one.
Wait, does Sam like Kanata Mumfield? I must have missed this episode.
That isn't actually Sam. You didn't see the tweet right after he won BBM. He had like a tongue-in-cheek tweet about Kanata Mumfield being an interesting sleeper for 2026.
Oh, I did miss that tweet.
It was pretty well done.
That sounds pretty well done.
Yeah. DJ Giddens.
That's interesting.
Kalen Black, Mont Claiborne. Look at this stuff.
What do you think the Sidekick would recommend to me to take Deshaun Watson to secure the Browns QB3 or Carson Beck to potentially have 4 quarterbacks? They're both double stack.
I think it would recommend Beck.
That's where I'm going.
But I could be wrong. I could be wrong, genuinely. But I think like I don't know. You don't have such a huge. Well, I guess you do have a pretty big bet on the Browns.
Yeah, they're both double bet. It's Fannin and KC, and then it's Love and Marv. So they're quite invested in both teams. 2 teams you want to be invested.
It might be. Yeah, I could see it either way. Frankly, Braswell came all the way back.
Wow.
All right, let's do it. That's a pretty sweet 20th round pick.
That is a sweet 20th round pick. I think he's a sweet 18th round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is this the first time someone's come on your stream and put $555 American on Carson Beck and Shedeur Sanders?
You know, I offered to split the team with you, and then you throw it in my face by taking Shedeur Sanders and Carson Beck.
Look, it's creative. It's outside the box.
Why don't you want to recap your team first? And then I'll recap.
Sure. So we went pretty robust running back build. Start with Gibbs, come back with Love, the 212, add on Montgomery at the 4-5 turn, Warren at the 6-7 turn. Only took one more running back the rest of the way with Jonah Coleman. I feel pretty good about that. Running back build conceptually. Wide receivers, little light. Devonta Smith, Jameson Williams, Marvin Harrison, and then cranked it up in the mid-rounds with KC, Concepcion, Jalen McMillan, Debo Samuel, Dontavian Wicks, and Ted Hurst. Both McMillan and Hurst were backstacked with Baker. Goff double-stacked with Gibbs and Jameson Williams. And then the tight end was Fannin, Okonkwo, and the Kohler Bear. And the real win here is in the quarterback room. Not only do we have attractive double stacks on the Buccaneers and Lions, but we have the envious double stacks of the Cardinals with Carson Beck and the Browns with Shedeur Sanders. If there's one lever that was pulled on this team, it is correlation, because we have 4 double stacks. So can't beat that.
All right. My team, also a 3 quarterback, or yours was 4 quarterback build, so nothing also there, but a 3 quarterback build, but with Jaden Daniels, stacked him with Terry McLaurin. Sam Darnold stacked him with AJ Barner, and then Geno Smith stacked him with Omar Cooper. So 3 single stacks on my end. I did try. Unfortunately, I got sniped. I was going to do Deshaun Watson and Isaiah Bond, but I couldn't get that one to fit. 22 rounds, I would have added that one. Running back, Bijan Robinson, Blake Corum, then the Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones double tap, and then tack on Dylan Sampson as a 5th running back. I wrote up Dylan Sampson. I haven't published it yet, but just in writing up some of the second-year running backs, I was like, this dude caught the ball really well last year. Kind of
second highest yards per route run in the NFL among running backs.
Yeah, so I feel like I was sleeping on him a little bit too much before that. Trying to draft him a bit more. So excited to tack him on here as the running back 5, and you kind of get like the Vikings as, you know, I've got Bijan, so I'm like hunting for, you know, a secondary running back first and foremost. You get the Vikings guys filling in. You got Corum with contingent upside / maybe bigger role, and then Sampson as a little pass catcher. So I think that's a fun running back room. George Pickens. Oh, good.
Oh, I just said it is.
Oh, thanks. George Pickens, I accidentally took thinking that I was going to have the same 3-way start with Bijan Robinson, Trey McBride, and Rashee Rice that I had in another draft. Turns out it was actually Pickens, so that was a bad move by me. But that gets me to Terry McLaurin here as I move off of David Montgomery and Mike Evans, who are on that same Bijan team that I drafted a week or so ago. So I get to Terry McLaurin, get to Devontae Adams. That sets me up for the Daniels stack, and then the little Rams double tap. So that ends up being pretty fun. Mekhi Lemon, Josh Downs, Omar Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, Chris Brazzell at receiver. Kind of like this receiver team. Calvin Ridley, did I say? He doesn't matter. But I like the receivers quite a bit. And then Trey McBride, AJ Barner, and you're basically good at 2 tight ends there. So you have covered add a redshirt year in Eli Stowers.
Yeah, I wish I had Eli Stowers. He would add a nice. He would have been a nice fit with Shedeur and Carson Beck on the redshirt gang. Too bad.
Love it.
I can't believe you stole him from me. I mean, I can because you actually take him, but
yeah. I like that you took Charlie Kolar instead. That's so good.
Well, I mean, the late round tight ends are freaking bleak. Like I was honestly like pretty pumped to take Evan Ingram. That was the plan A. He went. I'd sold myself on Stowers. You stole him right out of my cold dead hands, and at that point it was like Mike Gesicki or Charlie Kolar, and it's certainly funnier to take Kolar, and I don't think there's much of a difference between them.
Certainly funnier to take Kolar. That is 100% true. Also, like Njoku went so much earlier.
Njoku
don't get that.
I don't understand the Njoku thing at all. I'm not quite as sold on Kolar as maybe you guys are, but that is like exclusively.
But again, we are sold in what you just did. To be clear, I have to like keep pushing back
fair.
on the how sold we are because we're not that sold. You know.
Okay, fair enough. I'm Kolar curious in the sense of like I don't think Kolar is going to be that great because I'm pretty skeptical of his actual talent, and I am still pretty in on Gadsden. I don't think Njoku is draftable. Like, to be clear, if Njoku was still there and it was Kolar or Njoku, I would have taken Kolar. I have Kolar in my rankings. I don't have Njoku in my rankings. I'm not convinced he makes the team. And if he does, I think he's going to be like Bengals Noah Fant.
Yeah, he's Bengals Noah Fant.
So, like,
he might be Saints Noah Fant, dude. Like that.
Yeah, like if we were to do Bengals, if like basically the way I'm looking at this tight end room is like look at the Bengals last year, but then assume that Jamar Chase isn't on the team. He's missing the entire season, and then Gadsden is Mike Gesicki. Njoku is Noah Fant, and Kolar is like Drew Sample, but with an actually interesting college production profile.
Yeah, I mean, I think another way you could say is that like he's the Gadsden's kind of Evan Ingram-y, and he's Adam Troutman, but with an actual interesting college profile.
Yeah, but Gadsden is a lot better than 31-year-old Evan Ingram. What are we doing?
You hope. You hope.
Are you that out on Gadsden?
No. I'm not that out on Gadsden. It's more of an archetype thing where he's playing. He will be more productive in the same role, but I'm talking role wise.
Oh, role wise for sure. Yeah, role wise totally. But that's the Gesicki comp. It's like Gesicki's role sucks when Higgins and Chase both play, but I think his role, like we've seen Gesicki pop up when they have.
Yeah, totally.
Not both Higgins and Chase. His like routes are still kind of bad, but like he's heavily targeted on those routes, and it's like pretty sporadic. Where like one game he can catch 8 passes, and then everybody streams him in DFS the next week, and he catches 0 passes. Like that's kind of what I'm predicting out of Gadsden. But I do think he'll have a few weeks at least where he's like a massive part of the game plan, and he's pretty productive. Sketchier pick and managed by a long shot, where you have to try and figure that out
For sure.
I think in best ball,
and you also like
enough,
have to
at this price. I'm just gonna let it happen.
That's the thing. That's the other thing with Kolar too, is that like, and all these guys is that like it's like in manage you have to figure that out, and also like we're busy figuring other stuff out. Like, hey, this running back got hurt. Who's gonna replace him? Like the running back 3, we have played over the course of an NFL season guys who were on the practice squad to start the year and were terrible best ball picks from a process standpoint. But you know what? There were enough injuries ahead of them that we're taking them, or like weren't signed when the season started, but then did get signed because someone got hurt, basically came out of retirement, you know? And those, like, that's what I want to figure out in redraft, not which week I'm going to start Mike Gesicki or Evan
Right.
Ingram or Charlie Kolar, like, or David Njoku, you just figure other things out, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but here, like, I don't know which, running back's going to, like, who would it even be now? I guess LaShawn McCoy's past the point, Melvin Gordon, but someone like that where it's like a few years ago kind of ceased to matter, but comes back kind of thing. We could see, we could see it. Adrian Peterson back in the day. Remember when we were like, you pick up Adrian Peterson off waivers and he'd score points for the Lions?
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, he like instantly passed Kerryon Johnson. Took him like 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that. You're like, you would never have drafted Adrian Peterson in best ball that year, but it's like, yeah, I would drop the version of Mike Gesicki or Noah Fant or David Njoku for, the Lions' new starter who somehow is Adrian Peterson after he like basically retired already.
I do think
Najee probably is who I'm thinking of.
Najee, yeah. Connor when he gets cut by the Cardinals, or
Connor
when he gets cut by the Cardinals.
Connor's
one of those
a great
guys
one.
Is getting cut or traded by the Cardinals. They're not. I don't think.
Latavius Murray, what you up to? I love how grossed out you are by these names. I feel like you're starting to sweat.
Latavius Murray. That's horrid. That's awful.
Oh, it's so good.
I think Kolar's going to catch some touchdowns. Is what I've also talked myself into. Because he's going to be like, when you do your paper article, I mean, you don't really have anything to talk about for Kolar, like, actually, but like, I feel like theoretically, like what we envision Kolar's role being, he's probably going to play like, and he'll be like the play action goal line tight end. And like Ladd's not really an end zone threat. QJ kind of is like ish, but like, I don't know if he's really like a inside the 10 guy as much as he's like a take a drag to the house guy, or like the defense forgot to cover you seemingly more than any other player guy. But Kolar, like I definitely envision this offense scoring a lot of touchdowns, and I could envision 5 like play action. Oh, like no one's covering Charlie Kolar, and like you see Herbert like walking out, throwing it. The camera pans, and you're like, where's this ball going? And you can tell someone's going to be wide open because Herbert's throwing it about 1 mile an hour, and it's Charlie Kolar standing there completely uncovered. I envision that.
I'm envisioning Sacrilegious using his One Wish Willow on Charlie Kolar being a key red zone weapon for the Chargers, forgetting that Jim Harbaugh called Joe Alt a passing game weapon, and that resulting in Charlie Kolar blocking like his absolute ass off for like 20 touchdowns from Amari Hampton and Keaton Mitchell as they run in the ball every time. But that's what I envisioned then.
That's possible. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think Keaton Mitchell could be the goal line back?
Oh my God. That. Yeah. How tilted would Sack be if Charlie Kolar's just opening up like a highway size lane for Keaton Mitchell to run through?
I'm picturing a world where like they get down to the 1 on like a Ladd McConkey catches the ball and it looks like it's a touchdown, but the automatic review comes in. They realize his knee was down actually at the 1 yard line.
No, it's got to be Kolar.
So
Kolar's down at the 1.
No, Kolar wasn't even on the field for that play. That was like a 3rd and 11. And then Harbaugh and Mike McDaniel go like this to show that the heavy personnel group is coming on the field. So the heavy personnel trots on the field. There's an extra offensive lineman. It's the first game of the year. It's our first drive of the year. Charlie Kolar comes on. Rondé Gadsden's not even on the field. It's like Charlie Kolar, Tucker Fisk, and Spencer Watt that are all on the field. And Sack's going, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, this is where we're going to get our Charlie Kolar touchdown. And then he looks at the backfield and he goes, wait, that's not a Marion Hampton. And in fact, it's Keaton Mitchell. And they go play action.
Yes,
and Sack gets excited.
Like, if you don't go play
and then
action
unfortunately, it's the fake it to him, throw it to him to Keaton Mitchell, darting towards the pylon.
I want nothing more than for that exact play to happen this NFL season.
That's their first design goal on play of the game is PA halfback pass right to Keaton as he darts towards the end zone.
That is going to happen. That I think you just wish that into existence, dude. Oh,
if that happens, we got to go back and find this clip because that would be
All right, I think we will. It'll be the greatest prediction that's ever happened in the history of fantasy football. Mike McDaniel with a brilliant play call to Rico.
Yeah, exactly.
We sat down with Mike McDaniel, and he told us this Keaton Mitchell kid, he can do a lot more than people think.
Underrated in the green zone.
And they're really happy with this Charlie Kolar signing. They think, with another 5 weeks of pure blocking assignments, he might be able to catch his first ball of the year.
How tilted with the leg up at Coach Peak Discord and now me get if Jim Harbaugh ever refers to Charlie Kolar as a sixth offensive lineman.
I'm honestly hoping for that. I'm hoping for it because it means he'll play.
He's gonna play.
I know he doesn't play, but that means he'll play more.
Play a lot.
He'll play more. As a sixth offensive lineman, he'll play a lot.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to be citing? I'm looking forward to the paper podcast this year when you cite Durham Smythe's play action participation rate on like the 2023 Dolphins to make the bull case for Charlie Kolar.
I mean, that's what it's come to, man. It's like I'm citing Will Dissly's receiving stats, Durham Smythe's playing time. Let me see what he had that year because it was, I'm sure, not great. That year on the Dolphins, I assume it was so he had actually 2 different seasons on the Dolphins where he hit 350 plus yards.
Durham?
Bull Durham had 34 for 357 and 0 in 2021 for the Dolphins, and then 35 for 366 and 0.
Oh,
he could have caught some touchdowns.
The first year was the year that they had Gesicki on the franchise tag and just didn't really use him ever, except for like as a specialist.
I think the first year was the breakout Gesicki year where I lost my mind because everyone told me that Mike Gesicki was like this awesome big slot receiver. And I was like, this dude sucks. Like, he's not good.
No, I think that was the year prior. I think it was the first year of McDaniel.
Okay.
They franchise tagged Gesicki after the breakout year that he had just had. And then...
That's right.
And then they barely used Gesicki. And Durham Smythe was like the starting tight end, like kind of like the way Kolar's going to be the starting tight end. And he wasn't that productive, but Gesicki was also completely useless except he caught a few touchdowns. And then the next year, they basically just decided against having a tight end. They didn't treat it like it was a position on the roster. And that was the year I remember like I was even drafting a little bit of Durham Smythe because it was like he, I guess, is the tight end 1 here.
Weirdly, so Durham Smythe, Mike Gesicki's last year in the Dolphins was 2022.
Gesicki's big year was 2021, and then 2022 was the year that he, I think he had like
that wasn't a great year for Smythe. I think that they may have rotated the secondary tight end that year.
2021 was the year that
Gesicki
Gesicki was like actually finally fulfilled the promise of being a big slot receiver, and then never fulfilled that promise again. But like for that 1 year in 2021. I think Chad O'Shea was the offensive coordinator. That was the year that Will Fuller decided to not play football ever again after having a finger injury.
I remember.
And then I remember a lot of DFS slates of like playing like Tua, Waddle, Gesicki, or Tua Parker Gesicki. That was a fun year. Maybe less fun if you were like committed to hating Mike Gesicki your entire life.
Yeah, like me. My year that I did hate Mike Gesicki was nice because that was 2019, I believe, or 2020. It was one of those 2 years, and
the Chan Gailey year
it was the 2019 year that I think I was out.
Yeah, he was getting massively hyped, and then barely played.
Yeah. 51, 570, and 5, which coincidentally is the exact line I'm hoping for from Charlie Kolar this year.
I'm hoping from Charlie Kolar. What I would like this year would be 29. 243 and 8.
Oh, until you got to 8, I was like, we're getting the over there. over, hard under.
Yeah, probably. Do you actually think he's gonna go over that? Like you can see
Yeah.
what are you realistically hoping for? Like 44. What was Colby Parkinson have last year? Maybe that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, pull up Parkinson because that seems pretty good.
Because he was also a guy that like had theoretical receiving ability but had never done it in the NFL. Okay, so yeah, he had 43, 408, and 8. Sign me up. That'd be great.
Let's see. I'm putting this together right now. Hang on. So like, let's see. Yeah, probably like 30 for 403.
Well, that's less fun. I want more touchdowns than that. I'd like at least 6.
Maybe 35 for 350 and 3.
Yeah. Well, I'll go look at that. I'll go look at Charlie Kollar's college ref page because that's pretty inspiring.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be awesome. I think you're just like, hey, and obviously you're hoping for more touchdowns, but like, I don't, it's hard to just project a ton of touchdowns to this dude. So,
Right.
it would be something along those lines, and then you're hoping you're basically like, hey, does this player create, higher odds of me being live in these pods in the final, where probably in the pods more in the final, where he's attached to an elite offense and he can get in the end zone and move the needle in a position that's sometimes hard to find production at.
It is one of the funniest like college ref pages to look at is the 2021 Iowa Cyclones, because their number one leader across every single receiving category was Xavier Hutchinson. Their number 2 across every single receiving category was Charlie Kollar. And other players on this team include Jalen Noel, Breece Hall, and Brock Purdy. So it's like an all NFL offense for a team that went like 7-5, I think.
They're running it through Kollar.
7-6.
Hutchinson.
They had Breece Hall. I mean, Breece Hall obviously had a bunch of rushing production. But like it was like early career Jalen Noel. It was like Brock Purdy when people thought he was like the most average Power 5 quarterback to like ever be an average Power 5 quarterback. I mean, Matt Campbell's always gotten a lot of respect as a good coach. And I think that's wrong, because how did they lose 6 games with Brock Purdy and an entire skill group of NFLers? Like, say what you want about Xavier Hutchinson and Charlie Kollar, but like they play in the NFL. Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in the league. Jalen Noel plays in the NFL. That's their entire skill group. And like Brock Purdy is a top 10 NFL quarterback. They lost 6 games in the Big 12. What are we doing? Unacceptable.
I want to do like I'm assembling a team. Matt Campbell, head coach, TJ Hushmanzada, wide receivers mentor.
Their top edge rusher is Will McDonald, who's like also in the NFL and is a starter.
Oh man.
Like, how did they lose 6 games?
By the way, on the Kollar stuff, that was not my upside case. That was just like what I think he will probably do. Expect. So you're getting up. Yeah, you're getting upside.
Upside case is like Broncos Julius Thomas.
Oh my God. I'm going to edit this live stream after it goes. I'm going to go back and pull it from YouTube and edit it and upload it just to cut that off so that I don't have to hear that exact comment from Zach, because we update ranges later.
Look, he hadn't done much prior to that point. Just saying.
Yeah.
Before that season, he had a career 1 reception for 5 yards.
You're not doing me any favors here, Jacob.
Maybe Brown's Gary Barnage.
Jimmy Graham reincarnate. Gary Barnage would be unbelievable.
Gary Barnage would be pretty fun because he had, prior to his like GOAT season, he had a career high of 13 receptions. In
if Kollar's Gary Barnage, I'm honestly going to start to be worried for Pete, because now he's done content with 4 BBM winners. because Zach is like a lock to win BBM if he's Gary Barnidge.
The other one, maybe you could really. No, never mind. This guy was better in his early career than I remembered. I was gonna say he could be like Saints Ben Watson, but Ben Watson was actually kind of useful for the Patriots.
Yeah, he was. He had some real moments. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's hope it's Gary Barnidge now, because
Gary Barnidge would be awesome.
Now I've talked myself into him, so
all right,
I go crazy. All right,
Julius Thomas is the more frustrating comp to hear back because it seems like it could happen more. Where Gary Barnidge, it's just someone having fun, and if that did happen, we would.
Gary Barnidge would
make a lot of money.
Ever happened in fantasy football?
Truly. And then he went away.
He went completely away. It was the most. I can't think of anything like that in terms of a guy. Like, not only did he come from nowhere, because guys come from nowhere all the time, but not usually 7th-year veterans.
Yeah.
Like, he was in the NFL for 6 years. He did nothing. And then out of nowhere, he became the complete engine of an offense, and then never did anything ever again. Like,
so here's Gary Barnidge's
ever
career.
See something like that?
0, 0, 0, 12, 242, 0, 0, 0, 0. I like that they had sandwiched zeros in 16. This is according to FF Today, 13 games played and then 16 games played. So he was literally out there.
Yeah.
I guess to block. Then 678 1, 13 127 2.
Oh, you also missed did not play injured.
Oh, did not play injured 2011. 678 1, 13 127 2, 13 156 0. We are now into 2015. This guy debuted in the league in 2008. Then he goes 79 for 1,043 and 9 in 16 games. Then he went 55, 6, 12, and 2 out of the league the following year.
And the crazier part is, like, it's not like he even joined a new team. He'd already been on the Browns for 2 years, doing completely nothing. Yep. So it's not even like a new team got him and was like, man, like, that team didn't know what they have in this guy. This guy's a stud. Like, they did know what they had. They had nothing for multiple seasons, and then they decided, we're going to make this guy the complete engine of our offense. At age 30.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
He played one more season in the NFL after that. He retired 2 years later.
I think, who was it? Was it Mike Pettin? Who took over as their but who was the offensive coordinator?
Mike Pettin was the coach. The offensive coordinator was John DiFilippo.
That's right.
And then the quarterback was a triarchy. The most helpful one of that triarchy was Josh McCown. And then after that, it was Johnny Manziel, who I think was probably less helpful for Gary Barnidge, if I had to guess.
I think that's a fair guess. I feel like we chased the DiFilippo thing with tight end. Like, this guy loves tight ends for like 3 years after that.
Yeah, because he went to the Vikings at one point, and he had Irv Smith. And I remember people doing like a DiFilippo thing for Irv Smith. He certainly never did anything for Irv Smith. I'm on this team. Look, don't look at the if you've already looked at the Pro Reference page, then this is.
I haven't. No.
Have you already looked at the full team?
No.
All right.
No.
So Gary Barnidge co-led that team in targets with 125 targets. Can you name the other player who also had 125 targets on that Browns team?
Was it the what's his name? The dude who converted from quarterback, Terrell Pryor?
No. That was I think the next
year.
That
was later. I was okay.
That was the next year or the year after, something like
2015 Marquise Goodwin. Travis Benjamin?
Yes, it was Travis Benjamin.
Let's go.
Travis Benjamin. How is this a real team?
I think I was trying to think of Travis Benjamin when I said Goodwin. I'm not even sure he ever played for the Browns.
This is like,
Travis
I don't
Benjamin
know. What were the Browns doing in this era? This is their skill player group. It was Barnidge, 125, Benjamin, 125, Brian Hartline, 77, Duke Johnson, 74 targets, then Taylor Gabriel, Andrew Hawkins, Isaiah Crowell. This was also the year that they had just paid Dwayne Bowe like a ton of money, and then he had 5 catches and disappeared.
Dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
He was a league winner
The
with the Chiefs
Browns,
that
like,
one year.
this was like an era of the Browns where I remember like looking at headshots of guys on Madden, and if they had the Brown jersey, just being like, ugh. Like, it's like, oh, your career got to that point, eh? Like, you're on the Browns. It's tough.
I love it because you drafted Shedeur Sanders on this.
No, now the Browns. Now the Browns are where you want to be. The Browns are on the come up. This is a different era. This is a different era for the Browns.
I feel like
Shedera.
we've talked Devontae Adams for many years. It's like kind of we've almost been, we kind of like, people were bullied out of using Devontae Adams anymore. You're not allowed to even say Devontae Adams is a slow start wide receiver. Dwayne Bowe, I guess Dwayne Bowe doesn't qualify. I thought he started slower. I was about to say we could use him as the new guy, but he went 70 catches for 995 yards and 5 touchdowns year one. Why was I remembering him as? I guess because he fell off and then came back. I think that's what I'm remembering.
He was also he was the lead receiver on the Chiefs team that didn't have a receiving touchdown the entire season.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So he went. That must be 2014. Because
that would make sense.
He was 67, 54, and 0. That's the only year he didn't have a receiving touchdown with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So that must be that year.
Because that was the year that none of their receivers had a receiving touchdown.
That's right. God. Remember when the Chiefs sucked?
Was Jeremy Maclin on that team? He might have.
I think he was on that team. I'm pretty positive he was on that team.
No, he wasn't. That must have been later. I have it right now. It's because Kelsey was their lead receiver, obviously. These were everybody who scored a touchdown. For
he was still in Philly. You're right.
Game.
Oh, he came the following year.
Okay, and then because I think he was the one that scored the touchdown the next year that broke the streak.
That's what it was.
That would make sense.
Okay, I'm remembering it in with that.
That's what I remember. Yeah. And I think he did it against Andy Reid in Philly. I think I remember that game because it was Andy Reid came to Kansas City the next year. He got Maclin, and then I remember Maclin having a touchdown in Philly in like the Andy Reid return game. It was on a Thursday night, I think. I'm gonna look this up now because this would be Thursday Night Football.
That seems right, dude.
Chiefs Eagles. Did this happen? They did not. When did they? Which year?
It would be 2015 because that would be the streak. He had 8 touchdowns that year. Maclin.
When did Jeremy Maclin end up on the? When did Andy Reid become coach of the Chiefs?
I think he was. Let's see. He was.
He
it
became,
was around
2013.
Nick Foles. Yeah.
I'm mixing up 2 different years. So 2013 Chiefs would have been pre-Maclin, obviously, but that was when I remember him beating the Chiefs or beating the Eagles like right after he signed there for sure. But that must have been I guess clearly pre-Maclin coming to town. But anyway,
I went to a game in I think 2012. Yeah, it must have been 2012. The 2012 season, if that was Reed's last season in Philly, then that's the year. I went to a game and it was Washington, Philly, and it was like the dregs of that. It was fairly late in the year, and it was like Nick Foles, and everyone was just like, this sucks. like just the vibes were so like I hate this so much.
Because that was the year, that would have been terrible. Because that was the year that was supposed to be the dream team. Remember they signed Nnamdi Asomugha.
Right.
And they signed someone at receiver that was supposed to be good, I think. Or maybe running back. I think that, but I remember, and then Vince Young was like randomly also part of the dream team, and I never understood why, because he was the one that made the quote, like, we're going to be the dream team, but it made no sense. He was just their backup quarterback.
Right. Was that a Vic year? That was a Vic year, probably.
It was Vic had just had the year that was like super, super successful.
Right.
And then the next year, Vince Young called them the dream team.
Yeah, and then Foles ends the year as the starter because they either benched or Vic got hurt. I can't remember, but
yeah. So it would have been it would have been, Foles became the starter. And that
Namdi
team was,
Asamoah, he was there. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
that
my
team was
God.
bad, like quite bad. And it didn't
Reed
work
gets
out.
fired. They bring in Chip Kelly the following year.
And then it was awesome. And
Yeah.
I remember 2014. I remember well because that was I had like played a little bit of fantasy football like in like high school, and I'd like always like consulted since like the age of 6 on like my dad's team. But 2014 was the first year that I got to like play for actual money against like my like work buddies because I was like 17. Um, and then and I had Nick Foles that year. It was a super flex league. It was a weirdly complex league. It was start 11 offense, start 11 defense, IDP.
Whoa.
So you're starting 22 guys a week. And I remember like it was like the defensive stuff was wild. There was like a week where I was like watching Monday Night Football, sweating Patrick Willis tackles. And the scoring was like insane. Like I forget exactly how they had it set up, but it basically was set up to where it was not only super flex, but quarterbacks were averaging about 40 to 45 points per week. And then running backs and receivers were averaging like what they average in regular PPR. So like you really, really, really needed to start 2 quarterbacks. I had Andrew Luck and Nick Foles were my 2 quarterbacks, and it was really fun for a while. And then I think it went pretty cold eventually
Because Foles
because Nick Foles
did
got
quite
hurt.
well in 2013, right? And then 2014. Yeah, okay. He got hurt.
Yeah, Nick Foles got hurt, and it was this year. I'd gotten to the playoffs, and it was this year because the next year next year I won the league because I had David Johnson, and that would have been 2015. So it's 2014.
Yeah, Foles only played
And it was
8 games in 2014.
Right, and he got hurt, and then I had to trade for Ryan Tannehill, who's on the Dolphins, and he was kind of whatever. But I remember losing in the playoffs in the most tilting way possible, which was I was playing Locke, obviously QB1, and I had to decide between Tannehill or Mark Sanchez, who at this point was starting on the Eagles in place of Nick Foles, and I'd picked him up off of waivers. And I started Sanchez because I had Shady McCoy, and I was a pretty big favorite in the quarterfinal. So I'm like, this way, no matter what, I will get their touchdowns. So that's going to protect me. And they're playing Sunday Night Football, I think, against the Cowboys. And this game, I'm going to look this up because just to ensure that I'm correct. But that week, Chris Polk, who basically never played, rushed for 2 touchdowns in a game that I just needed 1 touchdown from either Shady McCoy or Mark Sanchez. And Chris Polk twice came in to vulture Shady McCoy at the goal line in that game. And
I feel like I
find
remember
this.
Matthew Berry doing a rant about this at the time with Chris Polk.
Eagles,
I feel
Cowboys,
like he had
2014. It would have been like week 14 or 15 or 16. And,
yeah.
Here we go, 38-27. I'll find the box score right now. Yeah, there it is. My memory is correct. LaShawn McCoy, 16 carries, 64 yards, 0 touchdowns. Mark Sanchez, 17 of 28, 252, 0 touchdowns. Chris Polk, 2 carries, 6 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darren Sproles, 3 carries, 5 yards, 1 touchdown. I lost by 3. Like one of those 3 touchdowns just went to their starting quarterback or running back, I was through. And that was my first season of playing like actual stakes fantasy football, and I stuck with it, shockingly.
Yeah, dude, that is brutal. That is a brutal beat.
They'll never beat that. I probably did beat that in 2 years ago when I like lost a main event qualifier to the sprint on a stat correction. And that was pretty painful. And it was where a Xavier Worthy reception had been changed to a Xavier Worthy rush.
I remember that one. Yeah.
That one was that was really bad.
That's brutal.
What's your worst? Do you have one?
I don't have any that were like as high stakes. I just remember like just tilting the shit out of like needing on a Monday Night Football to like win a matchup. You're just like watching the whole game and it's not going to happen. Fortunately, I've had like last year I was sweating this team that it didn't end up. I think it was to get through to week 16, not even to the final. But I had a BBM team that I really liked. It was a Bowers McBride team, and I was like, oh, if I could get low on Bowers through, like that could be a way to win and stuff. And I was like screaming at the TV because I could only afford so much from Achan, and I think I squeaked through by like 0.3 or something. So like another Achan touch, I would have been done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any off the top of my head that are like playoff related. My stuff has been more like the best team I ever had lost in the final, I guess, or in the semis, but it was back in 2011, I drafted. Shout out to John Paulson because I drafted right like off of his ranks. He got me on Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski, and this is like right when I was getting really back into fantasy football, and it was Ray Rice, Cam Newton, I think, who I think I got off waivers. This is a smaller league, but I got and so the team was just like the absolute nuts for the whole year, but I'd never found an RB2, and then Fred Jackson broke his leg on Thanksgiving that year.
Oh.
And I never found another RB2, and I couldn't seal the deal. But I was like, that team I was flexing, is not tight end premium, but I was flexing Gronk and Jimmy Graham every week.
That's unreal.
I loved that team.
The first time I think I ever fell in love with fantasy football, like pure joy, was getting David Johnson off of waivers the next season. In the same league where like, and this was at a point where like I didn't know anything really. Like I was like listening to like the mainstream pods. I was starting to get really into it, but I like it instantly become obsessed. And I remember like I remember this was also a league where there was no waivers, so it was just who's ever fastest to their phone gets to pick someone up.
Oh God, yeah.
And it was like I had David Johnson earlier in the season, but I think I had then dropped him because he like popped off early, but then he didn't do anything for a long time. It was all Chris
remember
Johnson.
he had David Johnson that year was like he scored a punt return touchdown, a kick return touchdown, and a receiving touchdown, like all within like he like basically made the Hall of Fame by like scoring. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Hall of Fame, but like he's in the NFL record books as like one of these guys who like scored like a touchdown every way you can.
Yeah.
Within, I don't know if it was in his first game or maybe it was just over his rookie season.
Yeah, I mean the second game for sure against the Bears. I remember he had a rushing touchdown and a kicker punt return touchdown. And then eventually he had a receiving touchdown. And he looked sick, but he didn't actually like really do anything for a while. He kept getting like one carry a game. And then I remember it was like the news alert hit that Chris Johnson was hurt. And I was like, I remember like where I was like on my phone immediately, hit the ad on David Johnson, and then like the rest of the season he turned into just like the like literal god of fantasy. There was like a game against the Eagles in I think it was the fantasy quarters or semifinals where he had I have his game log now 29, 187, and 3 plus 4 for 4. It was like, oh my God, like this is possible. This guy could just come from nowhere and then just be the best player in fantasy. I got him for free. I'm like, this game is incredible. It was fun.
Arians had some quote that year on All or Nothing that he was like it's him watching him in like training camp or something, and he's like he's gonna be a workhorse by December or by November. I can't remember what he said, but it was like I remember because I had him he won me a championship that year in my dynasty league, and just like it was one of the coolest things just to see him become an absolute smash, like one of the clearest league winners of all time. Because he was a 3rd round pick He was
from Northern Iowa.
From Northern Iowa. He had this like we didn't even have like full stats on him. It was like hard to get his. He caught a ton of balls.
Not even that's FCS, right? It's not even like Division One. Like you can't like if you play college football 27 the video game, you can't even play as Northern Iowa. They're not even in the game.
Yeah,
you have to play like FCS Midwest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which you can't do. You can schedule them as an opponent, but you can't do that. You can't play as them. They're not a real team.
Yeah. So man, that was God. And then he was huge. He was like in 220 something. He was really old. He's like 24 coming out. Yeah. But he was like big, incredibly athletic, and like was a converted wide receiver. He was a mythical level fantasy football hit where you're like,
yeah.
You know how many times like this doesn't actually work? David Johnson has probably cost Davis like more money than anyone.
He was a weird size. He's like 6'1" too. He's like really tall for a running back. He's 6'1", 225, runs like the wind, and then like he's basically like a wide receiver level player. Crazy, like insane. And I feel like I always forget how short the peak was because like if I think back to that era, I'm always like I'm always so wistful of the David Johnson era, but he really just had 1 month as a rookie.
Yep.
The next season, he completely dominated fantasy football every single week. That was like him and Gurley and Bell, I think.
Yeah, it was him and Gurley. Yeah.
The guys. Everybody else was existing. And then the next year, he got hurt and broke his wrist in week 1. Didn't play. And then the year after, Mike McCoy tried to turn him into Jordan Howard for some reason.
It's crazy.
And then
he was in Houston. Yeah.
And he had like one kind of like dead cat bounce, like RB2-ish season in Houston, like as the most dead zone-y back of all time. And that was it. He had basically like 1 season and a month as the best player in fantasy football. And then never really did anything again. But I feel like because of where he came from, like he's like one of the most like fondly thought of players by the entirety of the fantasy community. Like I feel like he has a 100% approval rating.
I think you're right because even though like I had David Johnson and in Dynasty and like the team kind of like I was like pushed after I won. I was like I got this window. I like tried to push in and obviously that didn't work because then that was the only great year you got from Johnson. So and then we were like chasing guys who kind of look like Johnson for years and that they never pan out.
Yeah,
but.
You're getting into Niall Davis.
Davis, right?
Reminds you of David Johnson.
100%. And Kristen Michael, he's had that.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, like so sweet.
Like you're just like that was like David Johnson is like the reason why we sorted running back prospects by speed score for like the next 6 years.
100%.
Like it was like.
We're still doing it. Adam Randall, this generation's David Johnson. That's what
do you think Steve Bisciotti had David Johnson in fantasy, and that's why he made the team draft Adam Randall? He like came down. He was like, "Look, man, you don't understand. I had David Johnson in 2016, and that guy won me my league. We need Adam Randall."
But the reason that David Johnson is beloved is that he had, first of all, he was incredible at the end of his rookie season, so he could have won you a championship right then and there. But then the following year, like he basically won you your if you had any decent team. Because he was dominant in the playoffs, like he was crushing in the weeks that mattered. So he just like he did it. Like he was the dream. He fulfilled the dream, and it was an improbable dream. And he just absolutely
such an improbable dream,
crushed it. And then after that, if you want to like get used shittily by a bad coach, and then like have an RB2 season at an overpriced, like you do whatever you want, like we're not gonna blame you.
Yeah, this was his playoffs that year. He went week 15, but like if you had David Johnson, you weren't playing week 15 because you surely had a bye.
You had a bye anyway, yeah.
But like he still
was this the week 16? No, this was a 16-week season anyway, wasn't it? Before 17
whatever,
weeks,
week 14. The quarterfinals he had like 17 points, but that's fine because you had a bye.
I see.
And then he went what was it? I'm doing like math on the fly, but he had 27 in the semis.
Well, read the line.
In the finals.
What did he actually?
He had 12 for 53 and 2 and 4 for 55 in the air.
Yeah.
which is like the classic David Johnson performance, where it's like you wasn't even that good, but like it was still the easiest. You're just
So
sleepwalking at 27 fantasy points.
So good.
And then the next week, the fantasy championship, 28 for 95 and 3, plus 4 for 41. And that was the Drew, like, I think that was like, yeah, on the Cardinals, like Drew Stanton, and it was like a night game, and he was going nuts. And I mean, there was a run, like, I remember there was, like, I'm looking at this box score. There was a stretch right before the fantasy playoffs, so this is like, I guess, 11, 12, 13, where he went just receiving. 11 targets, 7 for 57 and a touchdown. 11 targets, 8 for 103 and a touchdown. 12 targets, 9 for 91 and a touchdown. Like, it was like, it's crazy. He was just so bankable. And he was like not even actually that good of a running back. He averaged usually like 4 yards a carry, but it was
but Arians was fully in on, like, we're throwing to this dude. He's a weapon.
Right.
Yeah, it was just, oh God.
Bruce. I wish we had coaches like Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians was such a delightful element to the league.
He was the best.
He was the best, man.
I really wish that the Colts, back in 2012, were like, look, Chuck, we're really glad you beat cancer. Go be with your family. We're keeping Bruce Arians.
The thing with Bruce Arians that was cool is that he didn't get a chance for a long time.
Correct.
So he was kind of like passed over, just unable to get a head coaching job, and then finally, including in that in 2012 season. So then finally he gets a real shot with the Cardinals.
He gets a real shot by accident. He never would have probably become a head coach if Chuck Pagano
like in his career
really get cancer. Like he ends up being a really successful Super Bowl winning head coach, who never ever would have had a chance if it wasn't for a completely unforeseeable illness from Chuck Pagano. Like when the Colts hired him, he had been fired as OC from the Steelers and like had said like I might never coach again. Got lured to be an OC for the Colts. Chuck Pagano gets cancer and then they like win 11 games, and was so good that then he finally gets a chance to be a head coach by the Cardinals, completely by accident.
And then he wins a Super Bowl with I mean, that was, by the way, he almost won a Super Bowl with the Cardinals, right?
They went to the conference championship game in his second year.
Yeah.
They won like 13 games.
They got
blasted by the Panthers that year. That was like
that's right.
The Cam Newton Panthers MVP. They beat him like by 1 million, but they got there. They got to the Final Four with the Cardinals with old man Carson Palmer that he resuscitated, and this converted wide receiver from Northern Iowa. And he was so fantasy friendly. Like Larry Fitzgerald looked like he was kind of washed, and then he became awesome again.
Yep.
Everyone on that offense was fun. Like Smokey Brown, Michael Floyd was good for a little while.
Yeah.
God,
you can say fantasy friendly, which is true, but he also was just good at scoring points. Like he's fantasy friendly in the sense that like his offense has scored a bunch of points. Like he's good at that. And it always felt like to me like it's like he was playing with house money kind of thing. Like I never thought I'd get this chance. So like fuck it, I'm playing my style of football and we're going to try to score a bunch of points and we're going to take risks and we're not going to like go into, this overly conservative NFL mindset that like even today is still pretty prevalent where you just like, you don't take chances. And dude, he was,
because even the really good offensive coaches now are like, a lot of them anyway are like annoyingly conservative, and they're like conservative in smart ways. But like Matt LaFleur is a great offensive coach, but I'm in the middle of a big article on the Packers, and it's like Matt LaFleur's way of designing good offense is to like play as glacially slow as humanly possible, run the ball over and over again with Josh Jacobs, and then like meticulously micromanage like a few deep shots per game. Mm-hmm. Whereas Bruce Arians was like, Carson, go chuck it constantly.
Winston, like he's fun. Winston was an Arians guy,
Yeah, God, that was awesome.
Yeah, like he's right now. It's all about like. So what we figured out how to do was manufacture explosive plays through actually low risk play designs. We don't take risk, and we get paid off like we did take risk. And then the defenses have been trying to figure out how to take that away. And they're coming up with new ways like, McVay and the 13 personnel and run, like hey guys, we just figured out we can predict the defensive coverages as long as we play 3 tight ends, and that will help us generate more explosives without taking on additional risk. I'm pretty sure if Arians came back, he'd be like, what if we just took on a bunch of additional risk and had explosives that way?
He was like, what if I just go hit me no matter how many cards are in front of me? Wouldn't we win a lot?
And like, I was gonna make, like, you do win. Like, you put up points. Like, like, just take on some fucking points risk, man.
I'm really glad Polino's come. I was gonna make this point, and he beat me to it. But I think there is maybe a chance that Todd Monken's an experience. He has a lot in common. He's a coach that's led a lot of successful offenses. People have always decided he's like not going to be a head coach for reasons that are kind of unclear to me. Like, and it seems like it's mostly because he's like outside of the cocoon, as Evan Silva calls it. He also has a very similar manner of speaking to Bruce Arians in that he just says exactly what is on his mind, like 24/7. Like it doesn't feel like he minces it up very much. I'll never forget Bruce Arians when they asked, like, do you think you could win games without Jameis Winston? Like, after it looked like they may not bring him back, and they're like, well, we won some games with him. We could surely win some without him.
That's so good.
It was so good. And I forget there was some quote of like about Monken from this offseason. There was a few from this offseason that he just was like bluntly like, yeah, like we were throwing interceptions in practice and that was ridiculous. Like we should never do that. And like, I don't know. I remember a lot when he was with the Bucs, he had a reputation for bluntness too. So I hope so. I really hope so for this team because I'm heavily invested in the Todd Monken offense.
You're making me want Jameis Winston to get traded to the Browns. That's what we need.
He coached Winston, right? He coached him on the Bucs.
Monken?
Yeah, because Monken was the OC for that team that went back and forth between Winston and Fitzpatrick every week, and you didn't even care who because it was both really fun.
Oh my god, yeah.
That was the year that OJ Howard's rookie year.
That wasn't Chan Gailey, that Fitzpatrick team? Or was that? I'm thinking of a different Fitzpatrick team.
Chan Gailey was on the Dolphins.
That's right. There's been so many fun Fitzpatrick errors, I got him confused.
Yeah, the 20. Let's see, was it the 20? Probably the 2016 or 2017 Bucks, because 2018 I'm assuming was bad, because then eventually they got fired. But it was like Dirk Cutter was the coach, I think.
Cutter. Yeah.
And yeah, Dirk Cutter. He was a guy.
Dirk Cutter, man.
that was a guy. Yeah, 2017 Bucks. They only won 5 games. So I probably remember this season more fondly than Bucks fans do. But I remember it really fondly because Mike Evans went completely nuts. He had like 1,500 yards and 8 touchdowns. Adam Humphries had... They combined... this was a season where Winston and Fitzpatrick, they played... Winston started 9 and Fitzpatrick started 7. And in 3 games, both played. They combined, however... for 5,100 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and 26 interceptions. So, like, I remember it was like every week, whichever one of them was starting was projecting as a QB1, but you always had to be worried about the risk that they would get benched in game because they were constantly going back and forth. It was like every 5 games, one of them would get benched for the other, and they'd come in. But whoever was in was just like churning, and they had Deshaun Jackson on that team. That was like early Chris Godwin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was a fun team. Yeah.
I'll throw out is the next Arians Brian Schottenheimer. Also an older guy, not super old, 52, but didn't get a head coaching job until last year, and they were willing to chuck it last year, willing to take on a little more. This is more of an old school kind of passing game.
People think Brian Schottenheimer is a boomer, or at least they thought he was because his dad was a boomer.
Yeah.
But then he actually got fired for passing too much from the Seahawks. So I remember last year, he was the one that let Russ cook. That's right, because
they fired multiple guys for passing too much. Yeah.
Pete Carroll fired him for passing too much, and then eventually Mike McDonald fired Brian Grubb for passing too much.
Right.
But like,
right.
but Brian Schottenheimer was the OC of the Let Russ Cook season.
Yep.
And Pete Carroll said like, "Whoa there, you let him cook too much. Take a hike. We're hiring Shane Waldron."
You know,
And
I
at the
feel
time, people
Schottenheimer was
thought that was
vindicated.
smart.
Yeah, pretty
At the
vindicated
time, people
there.
was like, "This is a big upgrade going from Brian Schottenheimer to Shane Waldron," and it wasn't. It really wasn't.
Speaking of vindicated, maybe Jerry Jones will be vindicated on the Schottenheimer hire. Which he wasn't bad last year.
No, he was good. I remember last year, like I was big on Pickens, and one of the reasons was like people were like, I think Shoddy would really like to establish it. It was like, I don't know if Brian Schottenheimer wants to establish it. Like I think his dad wanted to establish
dad
it,
did.
but maybe his dad neglected him as a child, and Brian Schottenheimer rebels through passing.
What do you think of that, Dad?
Yeah, like every time he calls like 4 verts, he's like, "Screw you, Dad. Why didn't you let me play Game Boy?
Dad.
I passed the ball." I like Shoddy. Also similar to Arians, he has an untraditional hat choice because Arians always had the tam, and Brian Schottenheimer rocks the visor.
That's true.
Do you watch The Pit?
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like Brian Schottenheimer when he like talks, especially when he's rallying the troops, he's like a far less mentally ill Dr. Robbie?
I guess I need to watch more. This is a question for Greg. I'll ask him on Monday if he thinks
he kind of looks
there's some Dr. Robbie vibes. I haven't seen Schottenheimer enough.
Like Brian
Didn't make press
Schottenheimer actually
conferences.
looks a pretty good amount like Dr. Robbie. And like
Brian Schottenheimer getting
Schottenheimer-
Bruce Arians and Dr. Robbie comps.
Yeah, like
Pretty
he
bullish.
looks like Dr. Robbie, but Dr. Robbie is like actually like kind of a bad leader. But I think Brian Schottenheimer is a much better leader. And I remember there was like one time where there was like I think it was after the Monday night game, and he was like doing a big speech that like went around on Twitter, and he was like, "Big Q got a sack. This guy got a sack." And he was like doing a lot of this move. And I was like, this is like if Dr. Robbie had a healthier relationship with his staff. Like he would be doing this at the end of the shift. He'd be like, "Dr. Mohan saved someone's life today."
Yeah, I don't think. Fortunately, he would not give Mohan the props she deserves.
No, and he never will now. She's no longer going to be in the
I know. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I thought she was a fun character.
I think that's a long enough stream, 3 hours.
All right, I think we did it. We ended
Yeah.
on The Pit and Brian Schottenheimer and Bruce Arians comps. I think we've covered literally everything.
We covered a lot in the last hour. That's quite extraneous.
Tell
That was
people about-
the longest round of Remember That Guy I might have ever played. on a
me
fantasy
too.
stream.
I
That was-
agree.
We did
And I've
one
played some Remember That Guy.
5-5-5 and then a full hour of Remember That Guy.
That was beautiful. Stream
like
was
Adam
longer than
John
the
said, our
Odyssey.
stream was longer than- I'm going tonight. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
Oh, it's gonna. I can't wait. Yeah, I'm gonna see it
I'm
tonight. I'm
excited.
seeing it on Limax because we have one of the theaters that like says it's an IMAX, but isn't actually. It's the 1.43 aspect ratio, not 1.9. So I'm seeing that tonight, and then if I really like it, I'll go out to Langley, which is a suburb about an hour plus away from Vancouver, where they have a real IMAX. Zach is catching us at the wrong time. He caught up.
He's caught up, so he got all the Kolar
Oh,
talk.
I see.
Yeah, he
Good,
knows he's
good.
winning
I wouldn't
BBM because he's got the next Gary Barnage.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted Zach to miss that. So yeah. All right, this was fun. 3 hours, 7 minutes.
Thank you for joining. Good luck in the 555. Anything you want to shout out that you got coming up at Thinking About Thinking before we get out of here?
Sure. I'm like, I've been doing the ambiguous wide receiver rooms pieces. So if anyone hasn't checked out the Jaguars or the Bears or like the historical data intro that I did, those are already up there. And then depending on whether I'm able to finish it before I get to go to the Odyssey, I wasn't really slotting in a 3-hour stream originally when I was planning my day. But plan A is finish the Packers article today. If you don't see the Packers article in your inbox today, it'll definitely be tomorrow. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. People were asking about the kickstand, which will be the kind of sidekick light mode. We are the way we're going to launch, I'll send out an official email, but if you're curious about getting that, what I would say is go to Legendary Upside as a subscriber, install the Sidekick extension, and then the way we'll initially launch it, we'll kind of soft launch it, so you'll have the ability to just jump in drafts. You'll be like, oh, I have access now to this new kickstand version of it that'll just read whatever subscription tier you have. So if you have the normal Legendary Upside subscription, everyone there will have access to the kickstand, which will allow you to have the tags and the notification sound and all that stuff. Upload custom rankings, and it'll either be sorted by your rankings, ADP, our rankings, whatever you want. You can toggle it at the bottom like the Sidekick. And then Sidekick subs, obviously, we'll see your Sidekick subs, so you'll have that. So if you're leg up sub and you're eager to get the kickstand, I would just say go ahead and install the Sidekick extension. It'll all just be under the same extension, and you'll have access as soon as we launch that, which we're hoping to do very soon. I had a question too about the Legendary Upside article for the running backs. If that'll be out soon, I'm going to try to get that out earlier than I have done over the past couple of years. That's tended to come out later in August. I'm going to try to get it out early in August, or at least mid-August, just so people have it for all their redrafts. And so it's honestly kind of clarifying for me as I write it up, and then I am like, oh, I wish I wrote that 2 weeks ago so I could have drafted slightly differently. So I'm going to try to get that out, but like within the next month, but probably not like soon. But I do have another running back article I'm working on that I was hoping to finish up today, and we'll see if that happens now that I did an unexpected 3-hour stream. So, yeah. But I'll be back here on the Leg Up channel with Greg Branos for our Legendary Coach Speak stream. We'll be drafting on ship chasing a bunch more this summer. If you want to check out our first main event, we did that last Wednesday, and we'll be back next Wednesday, and then ADP chasing as always next Tuesday night with Jacob Davis and Shope. Yeah. So hope to see you guys for all
probably
that.
Even a more on-topic stream than this one. So
I think that we did that.
The first 2 hours were pretty informative. We just did an extra hour for.
We just did an extra hour.
Yeah,
it's tough to find out that like Davis helps keep you on track. That's a tough revelation.
Well, he keeps you on track because we're past his bedtime now, so he would have been like,
"Wow,
guys, it's 5 p.m. Central. I gotta go to sleep." Call it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Appreciate you all watching, and have a great weekend. We'll see you all very soon. Later.